It's different volume as it is for you guys, so I have to ask you. You know? I need to fix that in the future. Is this better? What about now? Good. Awesome. Oops, you're not supposed to see that. Imagine if I had something sus there. No delay this time? W! Okay, let's go over my theories quickly. I don't know why, like I never changed the delay settings. I guess it depends on the internet. Anyway, last time we wrote down, I like 3 or 4 theories, I think. Seer and Monster are neighboring pathways. Monster is the Fate pathway. Seer has connections to Fate, but not its main topic. 008 is a high-level Dragon pathway artifact or Monster pathway artifact. Beyonder who read Klein notes in is sequence 5 or 6 Seer. Beast Tamer, Secret Order working together within this Republic Ambassador. Sequence 1 of Seer is Lord of Mysteries or Fool. Cataclysmic Interior is Death pathway. Prophet is Bard pathway. Manipulator is Spectator pathway. Let's go. Also, Klein hired... Let me start recording. Klein hired a bodyguard last time as well for a lot of money for 3 days because he's scared for his life. The Intis ambassador Sean Bakerland, Sean Adon Bakerland or some Frenchy name like that is after Klein because Klein, you know, his plans and killed his main executioner, right? And then also Klein told Olger and Audrey to assassinate him, and he's gonna go through like Force and Shio, so Force and Shio have to figure it out, and the payment is really big. So let's jump into it right now. The whole story, the figure in the mirror was clear, but it was as though the woman in the black regal dress had never appeared. Klein secretly activated spirit vision but didn't find anything. Did I just fire a female ghost or as my bodyguard? I think it's because she's like a high sequence Beyonder who can like hide her presence, right? Because, you know, she was nice enough to say hello to Klein, but we still can't see her. She's even stranger than a female ghost. At the very least, one can see ghosts with spirit vision. Klein thoughtfully touched Asik's copper whistle in his pocket, feeling nothing but its cold chill like before. He didn't have any additional changes. She's unaffected by the copper whistle. Seems like she isn't an undead creature. Is it because maybe she's on the death path? No, I don't think so. But she's creepy though. Seems like she isn't an undead creature. However, I can't be sure. Back then, the copper whistle was buried with me, but the corpses surrounding me didn't act up normally. Yeah. Was it because those buried in the cemetery have experienced the send-off by the priests and bishops? They were blessed. They were blessed before death. You know, you have to do the symbol of the moon. When does it work and when doesn't it? When this business with the ambassador is over and if I'm still alive, I'll go to the cemetery and try to figure out the scope of its effect. Smart. And its limits. I can't always carry a time bomb like this. Klein washed his face and walked out of the bathroom. Just as he picked up the newspaper in the living room and was going to read it in the living room or bedroom, he heard the doorbell ring. Klein's mind tensed up when he heard the tingling sounds. He put on his coat with all kinds of materials in it and walked toward the door gingerly. He clearly knew that danger was approaching in the next few days. After standing behind the door and waiting for a moment, the scene outside naturally surfaced in Klein's mind. I mean, Klein might be right, like, these corpses were blessed before death. That's why they weren't brought back. And then again, this bodyguard that Klein has is not dead, right? I think that sometimes the most simplest explanations are also the right ones, right? But not all the time. The crimson moon was faintly discernible in the sky. The elegant cast lamps on both sides of the street lit up the wet road. A boy wearing an old coat stood there, his bright red eyes... Oh, Ian! His bright red eyes were deep and adrift. Ian, because bright red eyes. Ian, right? Why did he appear? Isn't this what I saw in my dream divination? Is it the prelude to danger? Klein opened the door and took 2 cautious steps back. Detective Moriarty! Ian took off his brown top hat, bowed and said in a low voice, I came to apologize. I'm sorry to have involved you in such a dangerous matter. Klein creased his eyebrows and probed. What you should have done is head to the police station. Ian looked around and bowed his head. Ian and Cyril were also part of the, like a secret organization that we don't know of, right? Because that's what Klein figured out. I just came out from MI9. Oh, that's like the CIA, right? Ah, is that the name of the military special department? Klein stepped aside, pointed at the living room and said, maybe we can have a chat. I have to at least know what placed me in the situation, he sighed inwardly. Ian didn't stand on ceremony as he followed Klein to the living room and sat in the same spot as he did last time. He was just about to open his mouth when Klein suddenly said, if what you plan on saying will put me in great danger, then there's no need to tell me about it. No, everything will be over soon. Be over. Ian had calmness that was beyond his age. Klein was relieved and asked out of curiosity. So, what exactly happened? Before he could finish his sentence, he saw a figure emerge from the panes of the oriel window. Oh, bodyguard. Across the room. A black regal dress, long hair tied in a bun, blue eyes, delicate features, and a pale face. It was the woman who had previously greeted Klein in the mirror. This woman seemed to find an illusory high-backed chair. Oh, like a illusory chair, that's funny. And sat down. Her left palm supported her right elbow, while her right hand supported her face, pretending to listen attentively while appearing expressionless. For a moment, Klein was left at loss. What if she's actually in the spirit world? Or like, she's a spirit, her body is somewhere else, and she is like looking over Klein, and if Klein gets into trouble, she can come here quickly. Maybe? The woman seemed to find any illusion. Yeah. For a moment, Klein was left at loss. Ian, who had been silent for a few seconds, and said it softly. In fact, Detective Cyril is a spy for the Fasak Empire. Oh! Fasak and Intis are... Fasak is getting involved. He adopted several vagrant children and taught them how to gather intelligence. I'm one of them. Ah, I see. That's how it is. It was involved in a huge spy conspiracy. Glenn suddenly felt enlightened. Ian looked at the coffee table and continued. We have the advantage of age and are often ignored by others, allowing us to gather a lot of useful information. A few weeks ago, I stumbled upon clues regarding Helmsund's manuscript. I think, by the way, I think Cyril was a Beyonder, because remember, Ian has a lot of like spiritual, what's it called? Reception? Not reception. Spiritual whatever, right? He's high in spirituality. That's what Klein noticed. So we learned from Roselle's diary that if a Beyonder has children, they have Beyonder characteristics depending on how strong the Beyonder is. So I think there's a 100% chance that Ezreal is a Beyonder. Now, not really a high sequence Beyonder, right? Because he was killed by Sequence 9 Hunter. Or maybe a gang of Sequence 9, or sorry, a Sequence 9 Hunter and like a part of some gang members. They might be like Sequence 8 or 9, right? Helmozuin? Wait, what? Sorry. Ian looked at the coffee table and said, we have the advantage of age and they are often ignored by others, allowing us to gather a lot of information. A few weeks ago, I stumbled upon the clues regarding Helmozuin's manuscript. Helmozuin? Klein found the name familiar. Helmozuin. Why do we... Helmozuin. Let's see what Klein says. I can't remember. He was just about to open his mouth when Klein suddenly added, if that's what you plan on saying will put me in great danger, then there's no need to tell me about it. Oh, sorry. Ian looked up at him and explained, Durrani von Helmozuin, the greatest scientist after Emperor Cell, a mathematician, a mechanist, and the father of the second generation difference engine. What are the chances that he's on the savant pathway, by the way? Ezreal? Yeah, I love Ezreal, man. So it's him. Glenn suddenly remembered the relevant information. He wasn't only a great scientist, but also a crazy scientist. He believed that the inherent flaw in the existence of humans could only be fixed through machines. No, he's a pro clanker. He loved eating sugar as if it was his own energy source. He mysteriously disappeared while researching a third generation difference engine and was an important figure that every country was trying to find. Disappeared or assassinated, man? His manuscript, does the manuscript involve third generation difference engines? Klein asked promptingly. Did he disappear or did he like become sequence 1 savant or some shit and like ascended? A difference engine was a mechanical device for computing. It could effectively improve the efficiency of scientific research and various projects. In Klein's opinion, it was an alternative computer in the age of steam. Of course, it could only do computation at present. Oh, it's like primitive PC, right? Fucking hate clankers, guys. Ian shook his head. I'm not sure. I didn't actually see it. Perhaps it has some red ideas. He paused for a moment, then he went on to recount what had happened. By the way, here when they say computer, they think like something that computes, right? Not like a computer like I'm using right now. Anyway, he paused for a moment and went to recount what had happened. When I reported to Detective Serial, he was very happy and told me to follow up on that lead while immediately reported it to his superior. It took me some time to determine where the manuscript was, but I was afraid of the danger, so I didn't steal it directly. I decided to return to Detective Serial, and after it was... so it wasn't a Beyond the Artifact, bro. Maybe, wait, if he was on the Savant pathway, it might as well be a Beyond the Artifact, right? Because if a notebook can be Beyond the Artifact, why can't some pieces of manuscript be a Beyond the Artifact? Am I right? And after it was, as I told you, Detective Serial's house was infiltrated, sorry. Fucking English comprehension, I'm sorry. While many of tiny traps were not restored and he didn't respond to my contract request, this Munger gang tried to capture me. With your help, I confirmed the death of Detective Serial and took a fake tooth from his corpse. Fake tooth? Oh, because he had like fake tooth, I guess. Oh, that's what happened after he parted. Detective Serial told me that inscribed on the inside of the fake tooth there was a method to urgently contact his superior. It was a method the demon he didn't know of and was something he would only remove if an accident occurred. Oh, superior from Pesach Empire, right? Klein nodded slightly and said, "So you sent a telegram?" A rare look of surprise flashed across Ian's face as I asked, "Did the people from MI9 tell you that?" Oh no, it's just a guess, right? No, a friend of mine happened to see you on Bacardi Street. Oh yeah, Klein actually made up an excuse. Oh yeah, smart. I see. I nodded in depression. In depression? I got in touch with Detective Serial and Superior in BAKERLAND via telegram and arranged a time, place and manner of meeting, but soon enough I was found by this Munger gang. Not to be exact, it was intelligent officer of the Intis Republic. That was what people from MI9 people told me. Unfortunately, MI9 arrived in time with both sides engaged in chaotic battle. I took his opportunity to escape. Oh, I see. So we were fighting with Intis Republic intelligent officer. Isn't that like declaration of war? I'm blurry? Sorry. Thank you for spamming, guys. I took the opportunity to escape. However, when I met with Detective Serial's superior this afternoon, I was once again ambushed by the Intis intelligence officers. The fucking Intis CIA are trying to get him, man. Unfortunately, I was caught by them and I was very afraid of dying. So I told them everything that I knew. However, they didn't keep their promise and still want to kill me. Oh wow, classic. At the moment, MI9 finally found me. Damn, getting saved twice, by the way, by MI9. Thanks, guys. It's only during such times when you look like 15 or 16-year-old teenager, just as Klein was reflecting over this, suddenly thought of a problem from what Ian had just said. Back when he discovered that something important was left behind on Serial's corpse and that Ian had successfully taken the way he had written the matter off, thinking that the Beyonder was lacking in skill and the Beyonder had missed out on something because the mediumship provided little useful information. However, after confirming that the ambassador had a meat sequence Beyonder of the Seer pathway, the situation became extremely peculiar. With a powerful mediumship, it was impossible for the fake tooth to not be discovered. Leaving the body in such a remote and hard to find place didn't seem like a trap. Combined with Ian's description, the answer was obvious. Klein nodded and said, "Have you ever thought of the possibility that Serial Superior has traitors around him? A traitor who has defected to the Intis intelligence services?" Oh, because Pesach Empire has the Seer sequence, if I'm not tripping, right? So that means maybe the sequence 5 Beyonders here went from Faceak to Intis, like a whistleblower. I just realized it's MI9 and not M19. Oh, this is chapter. Oh, thank you for reminding me, guys. Not 171. I think it's 257. If I'm wrong, I'm gonna change it later. Only Evernight and Secret Order. Oh, okay. Okay, yeah. Maybe Faceak does as well then. Or like Faceak Intelligence, right? That's also why Cyril was exposed and killed when he obtained the clue of the manuscript, as well as why you were ambushed. It was because my Intis ambassador had information about Cyril's superior, which was why he didn't pay much attention to the urgent communication method inscribed inside of the tooth. Cyril's report to the superior directly led to his demise. I see, okay. Ian fell into a daze when he heard that. It took him quite a while before he clenched his fist in anger, trying hard to compose himself, and said, I didn't think of that. You really are an excellent detective. Nice, Klein Glaze. He quickly let out a breath of air and changed the topic. I have divulged the whereabouts of the manuscript to MI9 and everything else. They also mentioned your predicament in passing. They didn't suspect me of lying, nor did they send anyone to watch me. All of them went to vie of the manuscript. However, with that kind of pressure, no one can lie. Having said that, Ian stood up and gave a deep bow. Please allow me to apologize again. I'm sorry to have you involved in this. Actually, you don't need to hide anything from me. Having understood the entire situation, Klein smiled and said, no, the main problem in this matter was because I made a mistake that made me end up in my current situation. As he was listening, he used Ian's description of the entire situation and his reflections of the past few days and confirmed he had made 2 mistakes. When I discovered that Ian's matter ran deeper than I feared, I still accepted the request. That wasn't a problem since I only felt it involved gangs and there would be at most 1 or 2 Beyonders who wouldn't dare expose themselves, but the divination lacked enough information and ended up with a failure. This was within the limits of what I could have resolved by myself, and typically speaking, there won't have been any trouble. I could even take the opportunity to come into contact with BAKERLAND's Beyonders. Yeah, but that backfired, dude. Going to sleep at 9 PM. Bye-bye. Bye, Sarah. So, yeah, I mean, all of this is because of... Is this a coincidence, by the way? Now, I don't see this as a coincidence from 008, because, you know, Ince has no idea that Klein is alive, and I'm 99.999% sure that Ince is not behind this with a 008. Maybe it's... You know how I made a theory last time that the Lord of Mysteries that made the Grey Fog, or is like the owner of Grey Fog, and made Klein transmigrate, is behind Klein's fate in a deeper level, right? Like it's like a curveball, you know. You think that the coincidences are over, but then there's a higher being controlling what's happening, like a puppet master, dude. Anyway, I don't know. We'll see. I have coincidence PTSD, so I might not have rational thinking about coincidence anymore. After finding Cyril's corpse and confirming that the matter ran deep, I should have considered the sensitivity of my identity and decisively extricated myself from this case. I should have let Ian deal with the subsequent matters himself. This won't be problematic and will be a rather careful choice. I mean, this is now hindsight, my guy. One of the mistakes I made was that I didn't flinch or reveal anything about Ian when Marisol came to me. Oh, he's like learning from his mistakes, right? I think. I only thought that he was from a gang, and that there were some Beyonders behind that gang who would have guessed it wouldn't involve a figure like the Intis ambassador. Even more so, I never expected Mirsol to be so rash. After failing his mission, he didn't threaten intimidate or me or proceed with other options. Instead, he came straight to kill me so that mediumship could be performed. He didn't even give me a chance to regret my decision. As a result, my decision worsened. So this isn't too subjective or too serious of a mistake. The one mistake that really caused me to be in such a massive, passive situation was a tiny mistake I made from the very beginning. I had rented the house and accepted the mission as Sherlock Moriarty without donning a disguise. I mean, you have a little stubble, you have a pipe. Like, that's a pretty good disguise, my guy. This resulted in me not being able to flee after my identity as a Beyonder was exposed to the ambassador, even as I acted horrified and frantic, thanking MI9 and the police department believed that my my taking flight will be only be normal, I didn't dare flee. I was afraid that when the ambassador failed to find a target for revenge, he would inform the officials about me. And according to my experience at Nighthawk, most official enforcers like the Nighthawks, Machine High Mind, and Mandate Punishers harbor animosity toward uncontrolled Beyonders. They definitely won't ignore me just because I'm a low sequence Beyonder and will begin an investigation. In time, my looks will be clear evidence. I will then be pursued by high sequence Beyonders from the Church of Goddess because I resurrected despite having been involved with the Grade Zero seed artifact. Exactly. There's no chance for such matters to be suddenly forgotten or thought of as nothing by others. I had to plan for the worst case scenario in advance, and if I only reacted when the ambassador took action, I would definitely be too late. Whether it's an assassination, finding a bodyguard, or buying items, all of them will require time. Only if the ambassador and his assistant dies or attention is diverted to the investigation of his death will I be able to resolve this latent danger. His assistant doesn't have an official status, so he can't interact with the officials. For a mere sequence 9 or sequence 8 at best, someone whose whereabouts are unknown, there's no reason to go through the effort to report me. Of course, his death is the best outcome, then there won't be any latent danger. Compared to finding Mr. Azik for help or having attention placed on me because of 008 again, as well as being pursued by high sequence Beyonders, assassinating the ambassador is a relatively simpler choice. Even if it fails, it can only bear me 1 or 2 outcomes. Everything originated from a small oversight at the beginning. I just imagined that in a metropolis with over 5 million people and few people knowing me while I deliberately avoided the Nighthawks, there was no need for me to don a disguise every day, since it would be easier for others to notice something amiss. Yet for such a small mistake, I would have had to pay over 10,000 gold pounds as the price without having any guarantee of resolving it. I'm really like a clown. I mean, I like how... Oh, double disguise. I see, yeah. Is that what don means, by the way? Is that what a don means? I mean, at least he has a positive effect of like acting like a fucking clown. With one mistake triggering a chain reaction, only the result in a desperate attempt to balance myself so as to please the audience. Exactly, bro. Don means make. Ah, I see. Okay. I mean, positive outcome, you know. But then again, there's a lot of ways you can act as a clown, so obviously, like, he did not do it on purpose, but yeah. It's all because of my lack of experience. This is the first time my 2 lifetimes combined that I ever been a fugitive. This is the first time in my 2 lifetimes combined. Talking like an unk, bro. Once this matter is completely resolved, exposing my identity as a Beyonder will no longer be that dangerous. They will only think that I obtained a potion while finding a bodyguard, not out my origins. Of course, I'll have to get used to wearing glasses and a mustache in the future so that the people around me will gradually get used to my new image. In the future, when they ask me about me, they will only think of the new image. Having thought through the entire matter, that was a wholly long-ass lampoon session, dude. Client laugh became more pronounced, making Ian feel strange. Wait, having thought through the entire matter, Client's laugh became more pronounced, making Ian feel strange. Now you're laughing like a fucking clown, my guy. It's time for me to leave. I need to disappear for a while, otherwise I might be thrown into jail. Ian put on his hat and paid farewell and left. Ian got scared and left. The client didn't stop him, watching him disappear into crimson moonlight while the woman by the oriel window had disappeared without him realizing it. I guess it was a long ass, yeah. I guess bodyguard left because of you know, she saw that Ian wasn't dangerous, right? At least went back into hiding. Like, she wanted to show Klein that she's actually doing her job. Anyway, the manuscript is a high. Let me write that down, by the way. The quote-unquote manuscript is a high beyond. Because if a book can be an artifact, why can't the manuscript be an artifact, by the way? One second, guys. 1 second. Turani von Helmswind, the greatest scientist. I think Bro got assassinated. Oh, sorry, wrong chapter title. My bad. My bad, guys. Raiding from both sides. What's that mean? With both sides being aware of the whereabouts of Helmswing's manuscript, the matter will come to an end tonight. Oh, it's coming down. Therefore, the ambassador will have the freedom to take revenge, and is this the reason for the impending danger? Blind came the rough understanding of the divination assault and the inexplicable omen. He didn't have the language of foulness charm or the powerful bodyguard that cost him 1,000 pounds for 3 days. Bro could have just said a powerful bodyguard, but he had to mention the money because he's still mad about spending 1,000 pounds. Imagine Blind spending 1,000 pounds, by the way. I would never. He would have shamelessly gone to the police station or the church of the God of Steam Machinery headquarters in BAKERLAND, Saint Hierland Cathedral, for a temporary stay. He could avoid any possible attacks and wait the assassination of the ambassador. As for how successful the assassination will be, Klein wasn't confident either. He had already considered the worst outcome and planned for it. But now, with the preparations, he no longer wanted to avoid it. He would stay at home and pretended that he knew nothing. Deep down, he was even looking forward to having his attacker come knocking at his door. Damn, Klein. Sequence 9 Hunter Muirsalt was killed by me. If they send someone else again, they would at least be Sequence 7 or even a Sequence 6 or 5. They might even come in numbers, but regardless, as long as I finish them, I'll obtain formulas and beyond characteristics. Yeah, thinking about loot. Yes, it has come a loot goblin. Again, then make up for some of my losses. Yes, I'll tell Miss Bodyguard that I had good luck and managed to benefit from the black ear that I bought and became a Beyonder. After all, when the battle becomes intense, there's no way to hide it at that point. Besides, what I'm saying is nearly the truth. Nearly the truth, exactly. Selective lies. I did benefit quite significantly from the black ear. As Klein considered what would soon follow, he almost instinctively drew the sign of the Crimson Moon on his chest. May the goddess bless me that Beyonder who comes is one of the seer pathway. He prayed silently. Oh, do you know why? Because he wants the characteristics and the info, right? And the brochure and everything. Bro is actually thinking so far ahead. Even buying someone for 1,000 pounds and not even permanent. Who are you thinking about buying, Nightwalker? Sorry. Where am I? Oh. As he thought of this, he looked around the room for his bodyguard. I mean, he was worried that she would run away without a sound after hearing the whole story. The lights in the dining room were warm, illuminating the coffee table, sofa, and chairs. There was no one else in the room except him. I mean, the bodyguard is filled in with the info now, right? Filled in that, you know, the opponents are dangerous, and it's Inti's public ambassador, and it's like going on like an international scale that could lead to a war. The lights in the dining room were warm, illuminating the coffee table, sofa, and chairs. There was no one else in the room except him. Isn't Klein lonely, by the way? I feel like he's lonely, because before he had like Pinson and Melissa. As Klein gradually grew nervous, he suddenly saw a face appear in the glass cover of the gas lamp in the living room. The face was pale, with pale gold hair and delicate looks. Oh, that's not the bodyguard? Oh, it is, because gold hair, was it gold? I remember it was white. Maybe I'm bugging. I guess it's gold. The said is quite confident in her own strength. Klein's mind calmed down and he whispered to himself, I'm also a Beyonder. He made a gamble on an item I bought from Casper's gathering and benefited from it, but it was only beneficial for me. What he said was true. No matter what method he had to face, these sentences would endure a truth test. He's playing around words so good, by the way. But when the two sentences were put together, one would think that the benefits made him a Beyonder. The face on the glass cover nodded slightly and quickly disappeared without any other reaction. Klein's expression didn't seem to change, but he secretly exhaled in his heart. Without taking off his coat, he went to the sofa and picked up a newspaper and started reading. After the wild dinging sound echoed again, someone had rung his doorbell again. Who is it? Ooh, who is it? Scary. He ain't even Klein. It's lonely that no one knows him as Klein, yeah. Who is it? Klein immediately then stuffed his hands into his pockets, touching his tarot cards and language of foulness charm. He slowly walked toward the door, and with the help of our abilities of a clown, he predicted what he would see after opening the door. The Crimson Moon was still faintly visible, the elegant gas lamps were unchanged, and the sergeant in black... Oh, sergeant! No! I miss. I always say this, and it's not even a joke. I low-key miss Pitch Mountain Bottom. Anytime I see a police officer, I'm always gonna mention Pitch because you can't stop me. He slowly walked towards the door, and with the help of his appearance clown, he predicted that what he would see after opening the door. The crimson moon was still faintly visible, the elegant cast lamp were unchanged, and the sergeant in black and white checkered uniform with 3 chevrons on his epaulets was impatiently waiting by the door. He had a short brown hair, beard, and was none other than the sergeant who had dealt with Sherlock Community case of self-defense. Ah, I think it's Jurgen. I think Jurgen mentioned his name. Sergeant Vaccine. It's a funny name, man. Vaccine. Vaccine. Well, I can receive the 10-pound bail tomorrow or next day. What is he doing here? Did MI9 send him to find Ian Wright, or do inform me that I should temporarily hide away from danger? Confused Klein grabbed the handle. Yeah, find out. That guy was a jerk. Yeah, but it was funny, man. I loved laughing at him. Inside the Intis embassy of BAKERLAND, Vesporo, the lights were on. The scent of various perfumes and alcohol. Where are we? Embassy, accompanied by melodious melodies stretched out of every corner. A ball was being held. Back with Audrey. During his years as ambassador, BAKERLAND had often held balls at the embassy, inviting the kingdom bankers, big factory owners, philanthropists, and other well-known rich and powerful people, as well as lawyers. Random opportunities were also given to some of the lower-ranked merchants. Damn, blow up the embassy so we can take out a lot of bad people, man. In this atmosphere, where he will tell the guests about the prosperity and openness of Trier and how the Intis Republic was no longer dominated by the likes of the nobles. Bankers, factory owners, and lawyers. They directly and indirectly took over a large portion of the parliamentary seats, determining the direction of the government policies, enjoying true freedom and high statuses. Interesting. I mean, this is like what... Isn't this what Napoleon... sorry, not Napoleon. Wasn't this what the French Revolution did, basically? Right? Yeah, I think this is like what happened after the French Revolution as well. So Trier, is Trier the capital of Intis? Can someone remind me, please? Today, BAKERLAND was doing the same thing with a wine glass in hand, fitted around the guests as it to prove that he was present at the ball without leaving. They should have gotten the manuscript by now, after learning that Ian Wright appeared at the telegraph office from Trembling Detective. Oh, detective snitch, bro. A trembling detective. Even putting plans into action, now is the time to reap the rewards. No, wait, what does that mean though? What does he mean by the trembling detective? Am I stupid? I've been putting plans into action, now is time to reap the rewards. BAKERLAND, with his thin but classy face, took a sip of blood like Ormir wine and headed back for the balcony, intended to take a breath of cool night air. After learning that Ian had sent a telegram as a veteran conspiracist and professional intelligence officer, BAKERLAND was actually aware that Ian was contacting his superior. Therefore, he quickly made the double spy that he had infiltrated. Okay, let's lock in here, guys. I have to like put my spine up and lock in. Okay. After learning that Ian had sent a telegram as a veteran conspiracist and a professional intelligence officer, BAKERLAND was acutely aware that Ian was contacting his superior. Therefore, he quickly made the double spy that had infiltrated the Basic Empire's background intelligence team, investigate and obtain a meeting time, location, and manner agreed upon Ian and quote-unquote the team leader. Okay, so the trembling, detective, I think he means Klein, right? That's, I mean, you'll see what Klein is. I think he's not trembling, but this guy underestimates Klein. So the double spy thing was correct, right? Because that was not confirmed. Klein was made a theory from that, and it seemed to be correct, right? Because of Klein's divisions and what he made his own conclusions of that, right? After that, he pretended that nothing had happened and continued to send people to look for Ian near Bacardi Street. He successfully found Ian and also attracted the attention of MI9. One step ahead. Always one step ahead. According to his plan, his intelligence officer had deliberately let Ian go so that MI9 would think that they were at the same starting line. After paralyzing his main opponent, he called in other unexposed intelligence agents to ambush Ian and the Fasek Empire team leader. He wanted to find the manuscript and smuggle it out of the Long Kingdom without being detected by the MI9. Bro thinks he's one step ahead. Hi, Alma. Hello, Alma. I missed you, man. There were so many good, like, ASIC chapters. Wait, I fucked up the volume. There we go. I haven't seen you in a long time, Alma. Hello, how are you doing? The situation had progressed as smoothly as he had expected, but the news that came back in the evening left his heart heavy. People from MI9 had actually appeared. He had appeared despite being supposedly fooled. Nah, you might be one step ahead, but we are 2 steps ahead, bozo. With Rosago around, it's definitely not because of divination. Oh, Rosago is the Sequence 5, Sequence 5 Seer, or Sequence 6, right? Let me copy his name. Rosago. It's definitely not because of divination. Besides, MI9 isn't good at divination at all. That means we have a spy among our ranks. There's an imposter among us. Let's hope that Rosago can be one step ahead of them and grab the manuscript to hand over to Shadow for extraction. Shadow. Interesting. BAKERLAND had deliberately organized the ball in order to avoid suspicion, but as such he was unable to involve himself with the developments. All he could do was pray that his subordinates would amount to something. According to this plan, once Rosago succeeded, he would immediately transfer the items to another intelligence officer, one that had never been activated before. Then Rosago would lure MI9 away and, by creating some trouble, keep them out of sight and distract them from his partner. During this process, BAKERLAND requested Rosago to kill the detective while he was at it. Oof, detective, he means Klein. If it wasn't for him, no one from MI9 would have known about it. Everything would have gone smoothly. Klein is Klein made a mortal enemy here, by the way. My involvement with this Munger gang wouldn't have been revealed, and it wouldn't be transferred back to the country. He actually didn't run away, thinking that MI9 would keep protecting him, and staying at home is safer than running away. BAKERLAND rubbed his face. Yep, didn't expect that, bozo. Had already received orders that after the operation regarding the manuscript had been completed, and they would hand all intelligent matters to the highest ranking military officer at the embassy and await the arrival of the new ambassador. He cooked up a plan, but you know, things don't go your way, man. Klein is built different. BAKERLAND was rather reluctant to part with BAKERLAND despite the bad weather and heavy pollution. BAKERLAND was one of the most prosperous cities in the world, yeah. Besides, the ladies here are more conservative. Oh my god, shut the fuck up. The ladies here are more conservative, unlike those sluts back at home. Slowly seducing them into bed and removing their restraint bit by bit is very satisfying and fascinating achievement. What a fucking weirdo, man. Fortunately, they have to bid a farewell to these beautiful ladies. BAKERLAND thought calmly, and he felt more and more resentful of the detective who dared to put up resistance. What a gooner this guy is. I hate him. Bro likes to slowly seduce, man. I did not want to know about your fetish. I hope the MMO RPG was good. Oh, did people already play it? As for Rosago's own safety, BAKERLAND wasn't worried at all. He believed that as long as Rosago wanted to, as long as he wasn't targeted by high sequence Beyonder, he would be able to escape immediately. This was because Rosago had a special Beyonder powers. As he lost himself in thought, BAKERLAND's eyes suddenly lit up. He saw a young lady in a crimson dress standing at the edge of the balcony in a glass of wine around. Is this Chio or is this young lady? So maybe Chio. She had a pretty face and a gentle temperament. Her hair was ink black, oh never mind, and luxuriant, and her light brown eyes seemed to speak volumes. BAKERLAND went over once again to begin to chat with her. He learned that the lady was the daughter of timber merchant named Aileen, and her father wasn't very rich and was trying to make his way up the ranks. With his status as India's ambassador, BAKERLAND quickly received Aileen's affection. After sharing 2 dances, their bodies became more intimate. I think this is like Shio or like or someone undercover, right? There's no way a random Aileen is gonna be a big part of the story. Or maybe it is, but I feel like this is not undercover and we're keeping in the dark here. Beautiful lady, I'd like to invite you to my room. How do I do a French accent? Wait, let me think for a second. Beautiful lady, I'd like to invite you to my room to sample some Ormer wine of 1286. I don't know, that's so bad. Aileen replied almost without any hesitation. Alright. Two of them left the ballroom and secretly went to the second floor. They entered Bakerland's room and ordered the cars to stay away from them and not disturb him. Bro is getting caught by MI9, but all he can think about is getting like laid. Like what the fuck this guy doing? People hate on Volume 2? Really? I never thought people would hate on Volume 2, eh? It's so cool. Not even close. Yeah. Before so-called Armor Wine 1286 appeared, Bakerland had passionately brought Eileen to the bed. While romping around in bed, Eileen's simple skirt came undone as her pure, fair arms hugged him. While her hands gripped Bakerland's shoulders, her nails and veins suddenly sprouted black, thin, fluffy spider feet? Bang. Is she losing control? Eileen's eyes suddenly pulled. Spider feet is assassin pathway? Eileen's eyes suddenly bulged as white foam poured out her mouth. Bakerland reacted the fist that had used to hit her abdomen. What the fuck, dude? Oh, I think Bakerland cooked. Is this MI9 ancient? This might be an MI ancient and he cooked, man. Yeah. Bakerland retracted the fist that he used to hit her abdomen and stood up from the bed. He no longer had the hasty cautions from before and instead wore a cold expression. Oh, he locked in. Who sent you? Who sent you? Bakerland asked in a deep voice. Eileen attempted to stand up, but the pain was too much to bear. Her eyes were filled with shock and fear. Seeing the expression on the pretty girl's face, Bakerland smiled and said, It's true that I'm into beautiful ladies, but I know this problem of mine. So every time I meet a beautiful lady, I'm especially careful. Bro, what the fuck? Speak. Who sent you? Don't bother resisting. I'm very good at using fire. Okay, this is more like a Spanish accent. I'm sorry. Anyway, I mean, Bakerland is a disgusting gooner, but also he's smart. You can't, you know, you can't discredit him there. But then again, he has Rosago under his control, so he has a lot of like foresight, divinations, and he knows what's gonna happen in the future of danger and everything. So yeah, I mean, interesting chapter though. So we know the name of Rosago as well. I don't think Audrey is here. It's another ball that he's making in the embassy. But there's gonna be like an assassination attempt on him soon. I feel like maybe it's made by you know, somehow with Shio and Force, even though like Shio and Force are really weak compared to Bakerland and Rosago, but we'll see how it goes. Fascinating. Oof! Spoilers, bro! It's happening in this chapter, man. I'm gonna close the window 1 second, guys. Disgusting gooner. Eileen clamped her mouth shut and angrily looked at the thin, smiling face of the ambassador with a touch of terror. Like, he has aura here, though. Like, looks like after like he's a fucking psychopath. I swear. How many chapters read I do for now? I can't hear when you read Lord and Mystery very much chapters. But what's your things about the end of Volume 1? End of Volume 1 was peak. But then again, I feel like it would have been peaker if I didn't watch donghua before, because I wanna like I wanna feel the sensation of my brain when I find out about the 008 in a very like slow burning way. You know what I mean? I guess we're gonna see that with future volumes. Bakerland stretched out his right hand, which was covered in a plume of orange flames that turned silently. Oh, that's what he meant by fire, I see. Firebender, ugh. He took 2 steps forward, making a gesture if he was pressing the palm against Eileen's skin. This made Eileen think of the description in many novels in which cruel interrogators would use red-hot iron to plant their target's body, bringing about an extremely painful experience. No, I can't be brutal to such a beautiful lady. BAKERLAND suddenly dropped his outstretched light palm and chuckled softly. He shook suddenly, turning the orange flame into a long red whip. Oh my fucking god, this guy, dude. This guy. You can be a piece of crap with aura, exactly. The long whip ignited the air around it, which took a form of thorns. Pow! BAKERLAND lashed his flaming whip at Eileen, burning her clothes and leaving dark mark on her skin. Her face contorted and she screamed. Who sent you? BAKERLAND asked again in a gentle voice. Fucking psychopath, dude. I swear to god, this guy, dude. Oh my god. It's actually so terrible. This guy loves it, dude. And you cry for in the volume 1. Alyssa and Benson part. Anyway, gentle voice. Eileen's lips quivered a few times before she finally opened them. It was... BAKERLAND subsequently listened to the answer. His eyes suddenly turned bloodshot. Oh no. BAKERLAND jerked back and rolled on the ground. What? In the spot where he was standing, a flame rose up and formed a wall of fire. Ooh. Splat, splat. This is Mr. A, right? Rain like blood and flesh splattered against the wall and produced sizzling sounds. What the fuck? Some then penetrated the flame, having him a thin trail of blood on the ground. At the end of this path was the Indian ambassador BAKERLAND, who had stood up once again. He saw that Eileen's abdomen had been torn open and 2 arms wrapped in viscous liquid were sticking out from inside. I need to read that again, man. In a spot where he had been standing, a flame rose up and formed a wall of fire. The flesh splattered against the wall and produced sizzling sounds. Is that like Eileen's flesh? Some of them penetrated the flame, leaving a thin trail of blood on the ground. At the end of this path was Intis ambassador BAKERLAND, who had stood up once again. He saw that Eileen's abdomen had torn open and 2 arms wrapped in viscous liquid were sticking out from inside. What the hell? That's so creepy, man. Mr. A. Mr. A is on the not the listener pathway, secret suppliant pathway. So yeah. With a sudden push of 2 arms, a figure filled its way from the belly out of the beautiful Eileen. It was covered in thick, squirming blood-red liquid that continuously dripped down, about the size of an adult male. It was hard to imagine that a normal woman like Eileen, with no brows protrusion in her abdomen, would actually have such a thing hidden inside her body. How was it stored in there? I don't fucking know, man. Boom! The body below Eileen's head exploded, completely turning into pure flesh and blood, surging into the room of humanoid figure and mixing with the dripping liquid to turn into a strange red robe. Yeah, this Mr. A. The figure revealed its true appearance. It was so beautiful that it looked like a woman. I called him a woman. The blood red robe it wore looked like a blossoming flower under the illumination of the flames. Rose Bishop. Oh, Rose Bishop. Wait. Let me think. As a veteran intelligence officer, BAKERLAND immediately indicated the name of the corresponding sequence before him. Sequence 6 of Life of Secret Suppliant Pathway, Rose Bishop. Oh, Rose Bishop is the sequence name. I forgot for a second, man. I have it written down. Yeah, Rose Bishop. So, Mr. A. Oh my god, that's actually... Rose Bishop is so, like, symbolic, though. Because of rose and then... blood and... Is it right? Right? Am I thinking the right thing? Like blood magic, exactly. Blood magic. Every Rose Bishop was an expert when it came to flesh and blood magic. The understood the sequence will hide inside the bodies of others, thereby avoiding all sorts of investigations. Was Eileen put up to this, by the way? Or was Eileen forced into this? Did Eileen knows what's gonna happen to him? Her, sorry? Be honest, this sequence would hide inside the body's waters, thereby avoiding all sort of investigations. But the moment they emerge, the host would lose their lives. I see. So I'm guessing, by the way, that that's why Rosargo could not divine danger for Bakerland, because hiding inside the bodies, there's no relevant information, right? For the Lord, Eileen remaining head let out a low cry and closed her eyes forever. Oh, she's just very loyal and devout. The Rose Bishop stretched out his right hand and tapped it just 4 times in order of bottom to top, right to left. With the door of blood and the light from the flames reflecting in his eyes, he looked at Bakerland and took a sudden step forward with his right foot, passing through the wall of fire. Didn't receive any damage from the fire, with only dark red liquid that continuously dripped down. Bakerland retreated once again as he suddenly raised his voice. Someone help! Someone help me! Although this most capable assistant, Rosago, and several intelligence agents had been sent on a mission, there was still no lack of beyonders in the embassy. There were military officials who had received a permission from the Loan Kingdom. There were defensive forces that were available. 1 sequence 5, 1 sequence 6, 3 sequence 7s, and combination of nearly 10 sequence 8 and 9s. Bro has a Beyonder army in this embassy, dude. People in Aurora Order are known to be crazy like that. Yeah, exactly. But even like Mr. A, man. Ooh. Bakerland's voice echoed around the room, but it didn't exit the premises. The music outside didn't stop and the ball continued. It was though the room had become a completely isolated world. Bakerland stopped his shouting, but narrowed his eyes and looked around. Oh, I see, dude. You're so fucked. No help is coming, little bro. What the fuck? The voice can't leave. The Rose Bishop was in no hurry to act, he said with a chuckle. It was by your own will. The rules that were decided by yourself. You told the guards not to disturb you or come near, or let anyone close. Oh my god, that's funny. Yes, I simply magnified your will and rules and make a slight distortion. If you want to escape this isolation, you have to defeat yourself. Bakerland's expression changed slightly. It appeared to be the compliance of rules was in fact a distortion of them. Wow, that's actually absolute cinema now. The characteristic of using the power of authority to serve oneself made him think of another sequence name, Baron of Corruption. Oh, lawyer pathway. Wait. I don't know. I just skimmed here. Made him think of another sequence name, Baron of Corruption. Bakerland growled. This was the lawyer pathway, which was sequence 6 of the Black Emperor pathway. Oh shit, okay. So you make like a contract by username. You make like a contract, like that makes sense if you like think about it. You set the rules and it works because beyond their powers can make it actually happen. So the voice can't leave the room. Right? Yeah. You reread the entire volume 2? Yeah. But I pause in the app and have to read out loud. Let me write that down actually. Loopholes in rules. Lawyer pathway seems interesting, by the way. Might consider choosing lawyer pathway. I have to learn more about it though. You can distort rules. Yeah. That's so fucking cool. So that's, by the way, this is kind of crazy. You have to defeat yourself. Doesn't this line go hard? Of course, fucking ambassador will be in the lawyer pathway and Baron of Corruption, man. Holy shit, before I could finish his sentence, Bakerland suddenly turned extremely gloomy as he blurted out, Shepherd, you are Shepherd. Who are you from our order? Mr. A? Oh, so Shepherd is sequence 5? Yeah. Mr. A sequence 5, but at the beginning he was using Rose Bishop abilities. Why are you assassinating me? Oh, he knows Mr. A. Rose Bishop, no. Shepherd chuckled. You don't need to know who I am. Accept the Lord's blessings. His body suddenly stiffed before he could finish sentence. It was so though his joints were covered in rust and they seemed to have turned a puppet. Oh, what the fuck? Bakerland laughed rapturously, the gloominess from before disappearing in an instant. He took out a white handkerchief from his left breast pocket and wiped the corner of his mouth. I'm glad that you're able to chat with me for so long. It gave me enough time. After the white handkerchief was taken away, a thumb-sized head emerged from his left. What a plot twist! From his left breast pocket, it was the head of a puppet with completely black eyes. The shepherd opened his mouth and was about to speak when I heard a hollow voice that seemed to come from afar. You! After pausing, his body suddenly bourgeoned. The skin turned dark. Two curved goat horns with strange sinister patterns sprouted from his head, as well as wings behind his back that reeked of sulfur when they flapped. What the fuck? Shepherd instantly moved 3 meters forward, having transformed to a devil-like creature. But even... Oh, let me put some battle music, maybe. What do you guys think? Sorry for stalling, like, I'm reading so slowly. I'm so sorry, man. I have the best... I have a really good, like, song. 1 second. Here we go. The shepherd instantly moved 3 meters forward, having transformed into a devil-like creature, but even so, it was as if every one of his joints was firmly shackled. His movements were stiff and slow, and his thoughts were starting to blur. You still have the power of the devil, as you expected of a shepherd. Let me send you to your lord. Without further ado, a flaming long spear with blazing white tip materialized in the middle of Bakerland's right ball. I still have the power of the devil. Ooh. Is the devil another pathway? Because, you know, shepherd can store souls, right? That's why the horns. That's why the goat horns. Devil-like creature. Let me copy this. He bent his back about to throw the spear to pin the shepherd to the wall and turn it into ashes. Sequence 7 pyromaniac of the conspire pathway had the ancient name Fire Mage. Okay, I'm gonna write it down later. I'm just gonna mark it right now and copy it. Fire Mage is crazy. At a moment, Bakerland began to cough violently, coughing so hard that he felt as if he was about to spit out his heart and lungs. His flaming spear lost control from his coughing and disappeared inch by inch. Called ambulance, but not from me. His face flushed red, and his forehead was scorching hot from his coughing fit. His influence of this enemy that he derived from a mystical item was lifted. The shepherd was freed from his sluggishness and turned to normal. Why do you think I was having such a long chat with you? How does severe pneumonia and unstoppable cough feel like? Jesus Christ. The devilish face asked with the corner of his mouth hooked. I wanna see some heart of the devil, right? Honestly, the art of Mr. A turning into a devil. Upon hearing these words, Bakerland suddenly recalled the enemy's beautiful and enchanting appearance when he first appeared, and regretfully said, "Disease! You killed demoness of demoness of affliction." Is that like Assassin Pathway? Is this like Assassin Pathway sequence 4 or maybe? Or sequence 5? That's why he has that ability, because he's a shepherd, right? The shepherd dispelled his devil-like form as his figure turned into a series of stacked after images. Holy shit! He chuckled and said, "No, I only received a gift from Saint Tenebrous. I know conspirators have all sorts of means available to them, so I'll be using my strongest ability now, so that you won't have any unnecessary hope." A book appeared before him, a translucent and blurry book. The ancient book flipped rapidly, and with a soft chant, "I came, I saw, I record. As long as I've recorded it, it'll be used it once." Oh, this is an ability that Saint Tenebrous had deliberately demonstrated to me. Although I only have half of his original effect, it's still enough. Shepherd's voice turned hollow, and his body was enveloped by darkness and spewed out from the book. He quickly turned to a small giant, about 2 to 3 to 2.4 meters tall. His entire body was covered in cold black armor, and at the space where his eyes should be, there were two glowing crimson red blobs. Dark Knight raised his broadsword in his hands, took a step forward, and delivered an unrelenting chop. Another shepherd ability, dude. What the fuck? Or like a shepherd he took from different like sequence. So fucking shepherd is so versatile. No, why? Bakerland tragically screamed. The layers of flames that gushed out of his body were split apart. All stuff lights exploded and were split open, and his body was split into two halves. Oh my god! Holy shit! Boom! That Bakerland fell to the ground. No blood came out of his massive wound. Ugh! Even his soul seemed to be corroded and destroyed by the black sword that didn't seem to exist. Boom, boom, boom. The plumes of fire that spewed out of Bakerland's body lost control, causing the blast that shook the room and sent the glass rattling. At that moment, the isolation that had been created by his own will vanished with his death. The shepherd didn't stop, nor did he wait for a beyonder characteristic to appear. He restored his inconspicuous appearance and seized the opportunity before the military officials of the embassy arrived, spreading through the layers of the walls into darkness outside. He could have sold that. He could have sold that beyonder characteristic for a lot of money, by the way. Okay, interesting. We have to go over this. This has so much info. So, obviously, we know that from Shilango's Creeping Hunger artifact that Shepard has a lot of tricks up their sleeve. Especially, they can use other sequence abilities that they have defeated before. So, few of them we can see from Demoness of Affliction, which is like sequence 5 or 6 or 4 of the Demoness. Not Demoness pathway, sorry, the Assassin pathway. So probably sequence 5 or 4, I'm thinking, right? But he did say that he did not get it from feeding the Demoness, he got it from someone named Tenebrous, right? I see, so they can like disease people. I know conspirers have also some means available, so I'll be using my strongest ability now so that you won't have unnecessary hope. A book, blurry book, from like writer pathway maybe? This is from the writer pathway. Maybe, I'm thinking so. 34 writer, sorry. The book that Mr. A used is from the writer pathway? Question mark? Is there even a writer pathway? Reader. Oh, reader, not writer. My bad. Reader pathway? Yeah. Reader pathway. Oops. I came, I saw, I record. This is an ability that Saint Cerberus had deliberately demonstrated to me, although only have alpha, its original effect is still enough. Okay. You quickly turn to a small giant, probably from the giant pathway. Okay. And like warrior, you can like hit the big size sword. And then also we had sequence 7 Pyromaniac of the Conspire pathway. So wait. Why is it called Conspire pathway if sequence 6 is Conspirer? It's a Hunter pathway, no? Or did I make a mistake here? Sequence 6 Conspire, right? Mistranslation, maybe? Or like, yeah, anyway. Ah, I see. I see. Rare. I see. Also, the power of a devil. Devil is a sequence, often called Timon S pathway. Ah, I see. Even I made that mistake. Also, this is funny because you know how this happened. This was a roller coaster, right? This fight. At first, you know, Mr. A was winning, then BAKERLAND thinks he's winning, and then Mr. A was winning. You know what I mean? Also, BAKERLAND was sequence 6, Baron of Corruption, which is insane title, by the way. Baron of Corruption. We're filling in it so fast, by the way. So I think, let me write it down as well. Where is the Assassin pathway? Sequence question mark Demoness of affiliate, right? I think so. Ancient name is Fire Mage. Okay, let's go back to Minsk Street now. Where is it? Yeah, at 15 Minsk Street. Okay. Wow. Wait, affliction. Oh, my bad. My bad. Affliction. Affliction. Thank you. I can't read. Reading comprehension of a child. Affliction. Anyway. Also, I'm logged into a different account, which is very awkward. Okay, there we go. Anyway, let's continue. That was so cool. Get some hardcore going. At 15 Minsk Street, Klein blows with his right hand on the handle. He decided to throw a coin before he opened the door. Smart. Since Ian had already come, the revelation that he had seen in the dream had already happened. That meant that danger will come at any moment. While muttering the words, the visitor outside will bring danger, Klein picked up a quarter pence and watched it wallow in his palm, his number side facing up. So, Ambassador BAKERLAND got assassinated and Klein wasted £1,000 for no reason. Are we saying that? I mean, there's still danger because he was divining, is danger coming? And it said yes, so maybe it's not what he expects, right? Its number facing up, negative. Klein muttered to himself as he reached for the handle. However, he didn't let his guard down. He knew that there was a meat sequence beyond of the same pathway as him on the passenger side, who wouldn't intervene with his divination. It was that person. It would be normal for him to get the wrong result. It's a pity that I don't have the time or an opportunity to investigate it about the grey fog. Klein looked through the door for a moment with his spirit vision, realizing that nothing was amiss. He opened the door and took 2 steps back. Dressed in a black and white checkered uniform, Sergeant Vaccine took off his hat and said, with a serious expression, I have been sent by the higher-ups to tell you that must be careful tonight and tomorrow. Be careful of strangers. That's very ominous. Don't you want to send a unit outside our house to, like, protect us or something? What pathway do I choose? I will choose spectator, but I'm really interested in the what's it called? In the lawyer pathway as well. Dressed in a black, white checkered uniform, Sergeant Vaccine took off his hat and said, "I've been sent by by the higher-ups to tell you that you must be careful tonight and tomorrow. Be careful of strangers. Like any strangers. Interesting. We'll see. We'll see who the stranger is gonna be. 250. Maybe they wanna get like revenge on Bakerland's death in this republic, or at least his initial companions that he was in the ball with. Is that why, maybe? Alright, Klein nodded solemnly. 250, by the way. Quarter of 1,000. Quarter of 1,000. Sergeant Vaccine touched his short hair and said, "There are other arrangements. I'll explain them to you in detail, and you can decide on your own." He cast his gaze towards the living room. Klein made a polite gesture of invitation and then watched as Sergeant Vaccine close the door. Behind him, walked over the sofa and sat down. "What are your plans?" Klein kept his coat on, hands still in his pockets. Vaccine leaned forward slightly, clasped his hand and said, "You should be very well aware that you have offended that ambassador. Tonight or tomorrow will be the most dangerous period for you. Higher-ups have given you 3 choices. The first is to go to Holy Wind Cathedral for 2 days. I know that you're a believer of the god and steam and machinery." Yep, we are, wink wink. "But St. Hierland Cathedral is too far, and it's easy for trouble to arise on the way there." Klein nodded, Klein with 2 N's, by the way. Klein nodded indiscriminately and waited for the sergeant to give him the second choice. Suddenly his vision blurred and his head went numb. He felt as if there were a layer of thick glass around him. Beware of strangers? Vaccine, are you the person you say you are? So the Sergeant Vaccine opening and closing his mouth was slowing down, and he noticed that his thoughts had become sluggish. This feeling was very familiar. Klein suddenly thought of the puppet from the Anticonus family, Seal Effect 2049. Oh, is this Lorago pretending to be Vaccine? Because I think the Seal Artifact 2049 is a Seer artifact. Because all like artifacts are beyond their powers in items. Maybe. Bye, Alma. Back then he was repeatedly affected in a similar way, but he had been awakened by Captain Don Smith and others to ensure that others could You have to do this, guys. Was this what you need to do? But then again, it's not the puppet. The puppet is in Tingen. This is like a Seer ability. Back then he was repeatedly affected in a similar way, but he had been awakened by Don Smith and others to ensure that others could detect any abnormalities in a timely manner. They kept stretching and retracting their arms. The Antigonus family holds the Seer pathway. This person ability is similar to the Antigonus family puppet. He's the meat sequence beyond of the Seer pathway. Yeah, as expected, it's him. Klein came to senses, but there was no Don Smith to wake him. We need to signal to the bodyguard or use the Grey Fog here, right? Beware of strangers! And it's the first fucking guy, man. The muscles on Officer Vaccine's face started skirming. Soon he turned into a gentleman with black hair and blue eyes. There we go. That's him, bro. It's him. He had handsome face and tiny stubble. He had fucking transformed to Vaccine, and that Klein was like, "Come in, sit on the sofa." He said with a smile, "Given time..." So I'm guessing his like coin divination thing failed because of lack of info, right? So you can never depend on divination. He said with a smile, given time, this is one of the most difficult abilities to deal with for anyone that isn't high sequence beyonder. As he spoke, Klein saw the image of a woman in the black regal dress appear in the glass of the rear window. "Let's go, bodyguard! Your job! Right now! Your job!" He doesn't know. Él no sabe. He does not know. She walked slowly and stiffly out of the glass. Her blonde hair, her delicate and her pale face made her seem more like a tall than living person. Battle music again. She walked slowly and stiffly out of the class. Her blonde hair, delicate face, and her pale face made her seem more like a doll than a living person. I never thought that you will be able to hire such a powerful bodyguard. If it wasn't for my divination of time, I might have died here. What kind of compensation did you pay? By the way, my name is Rosago. Bro is zapping so fast. Rosago didn't look back as he continued smiling at Klein, but didn't expect a fluent answer from the man he controlled. At that moment, suddenly felt a cold breeze blow across his neck, causing his hair to stand on end of as goosebumps appeared all over his body. There seemed to be an invisible person at his back, breathing down his neck. Rosago laughed, raised his left hand and snapped his fingers. Bow! The flame suddenly soared up from his back, and a transparent shadow was set ablaze, quickly turning into ashes. She died? Flame suddenly... No, probably not, right? In Klein's vision, those motions were all broken down into creative images. Oh, like... That's crazy, like a fever dream. This wasn't because his opponent had turned slow, but was a result of his increasingly sluggish thoughts. Now that he has me under control, why isn't he directly killing me? Do all villains like to engage in lengthy monologues? No, he's not stupid. He's trying to conceal something with this discussion. Klein tried to think to figure out the problem, but his thoughts were moving at an irresistibly slow pace. He looked intently at Rosago, taking in every detail of his. Finally, saw a figure in each of Rosago's eyes, a figure with blonde hair. Holy shit! She entered her head! Oh, but like we always see her like from reflections and stuff though. A figure with blonde hair, blue eyes, a pale as face as a dark black gothic regal dress. Oh, I like that clothing. At this moment, the woman was still behind Rosago. She was still near the oriel window, walking toward him like a manipulated puppet. Oh my god, she's so scary. He hasn't really controlled her yet. She's still trying to resist and struggle. They are tussling in the realm of mystery. Oh, because he doesn't see like what's going on, right? I need to do something. I need to dip the scales of balance. Klein turned his attention to the language of foulness charm he was holding in his left hand. It was cold and slippery, filled with evil. He was glad that he hadn't let down his guard and maintained a battle-ready state the entire time. He would only injure himself to injure his opponent. Klein gathered his strength and struggled to speak. His vocal cords seemed to have rotted. And his throat squirming in difficulty because of the whatever 2049 ability that the seers have. He hoarsely said an ancient hermes with that staccato rhythm. Foulness! As his voice echoed in the air, Klein felt a corrosive pain in his left palm, and he heard illusory whispers that could drive a person mad. This was the state that he was familiar with and didn't affect his subsequent attempts. The attempt was to inject most of his spirituality into the language of foulness charm, which didn't require control of his body. In 3 seconds, the voice of the true creator will descend upon the physical world and burrow into the ears of the creature closest to him. What if it affects the bodyguard instead? You know what I mean? The brutal, the thin illusory, the evil whispers spread out in an instant. Klein felt his scalp tingle, his brain tremble, his mind abuzz, his veins throbbing. He found it difficult to focus his mind. A coffee table away from Rosago's expression had suddenly turned adrift. His face swelled up as the woman figure in his eyes suddenly became clearer. Oh, is she winning? Must be, right? 2. The pale woman in the black regal dress behind him quickened her actions, but soon as she frowned in pain. Oh no, never mind. At this moment, Klein felt the awakening of the influence as he wished, regaining his smooth thought process, and felt as though his joints were once again filled with lubricant. Oh, he escaped the influence. Having experienced ravings all the time, he endured the madness and pain, quickly pulling out and throwing the language of foulness charm into the left palm at Rosago. 1. Iron black charm with its many symbols and sinister-looking patterns melted. Rosago had just regained some of his composure and was trying to leap to the side when he saw a rich darkness and heard a murmur that contained immense knowledge and extreme madness. So he's gonna start to worship, because strong beyond the right, he's gonna mindlessly start worshipping the true creator and become mad. No human being was able to describe such a sound. All the veins in Rosago's head protrude as if they were about to explode. He tumbled on the ground, breathing and struggling as his skin ruptured inch by inch, revealing the flesh underneath. Okay, he's literally losing control. At the same time, Klein and blonde woman with the blue eyes also failed to resist the pain as they fell on the ground. Oh shit! We have to save her with grey fog, maybe. Each of them let out a tragic scream. The excruciating pain felt like someone had stabbed their temples with a drill rod. Ow! Her eyes turned bloodshot and red liquid ran down their nose. They could neither see nor feel the outside world. The experienced Klein was the first to recover. He staggered to his feet and saw that Rosago had turned off his clothes and ripped off his skin. Oh! Oh, it was so painful that he ripped off his skin. That's... exposing his flesh and veins. He was like a legendary red monster that had been skinned. He constantly tumbled around on the ground while groaning in pain as he was about to lose control. Klein didn't wait for the result because he couldn't afford the possibility of the other party gaining the benefits as well as becoming a devotee of the true creator. He believed that the evil god was definitely infuriated as well. Pulling out his revolver and adjusting the barrel to the firing position, Klein took 2 steps forward, circled around the coffee table, and put the muzzle of his gun against Rosago's head. Oh my god, Aura! Bro went like this to his head, and he shot 5 times. Bang, 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 bang. Dressed in his black double-breasted suit, he stared at his enemy intently as he shot 5 rounds in a row. Watching his enemy head swell and explode into a mixture of red, white and black that splattered all over the floor. Captain, thank you for demonstrating this to me before. Klein panted while he lowered his revolver before it beamed brightly. In front of him, Rosago's headless corpse faltered a little before collapsing to the side of the sofa. Only then did the woman in the black gothic legal dress stop her screams, her struggles, and rolling slowed down. Her skin seemed to turn a lot more translucent. Oh my god, I feel bad for her. Seeing the flesh of Rosago's corpse squirm, Klein didn't hesitate to use his self-created Requiem charm. Under the calm and serene atmosphere, the corpse finally stopped moving. Upon seeing this scene, Klein thought of something. He took out another charm and chanted in a low voice, "Crimson!" Then injected some of his spirituality into it and threw the charm at his bodyguard, the woman with the pale golden hair and pale white face. As the slumbering powers emanated, the woman, who was still weakened under the effect of the lingering voices, instantly quieted down as she fell into deep slumber. Oh, thank you. Just to be sure, Klein threw another slumber charm, afraid that he would be interrupted during what he was planning to do next. 15 Main Street once again had its peace. This time nothing was broken, only the ground was contaminated as the fight between the 3 parties was mystical and beyond the physical realm. Exactly! Like, we didn't even see what was going on with the bodyguard and Rosago. I guess in the donghua they will also like animate that somehow and show us more, right? Anyway, that was insane. Well, that was the mission that, you know, BAKERLAND mentioned that he sent Rosago on, right? And you can like also disguise yourself, transform into other people like Rosago did. Also, you can use the ability of 2049, which is already using ability of Seer. Maybe Beast Tamer. Is it a Beast Tamer ability? Anyway, looking at Rosago's corpse and then his sleeping bodyguard, Klein mocked himself. It's also good to court death often, at least icon some immunity. Bro is gonna loot his beyond characteristic, he's gonna do his divination and find out sequence 7, 6, 5, maybe potions as well. This is really good for him, right? He gained a lot from this, so actually meeting Ian right and doing this is a net positive for him. Anyway, the chat is very slow. What's up, guys? Also, where are the mods? You should delete that message, JK. We are waiting for it. Waiting what? Nightwalker is playing Minecraft. That's so funny. Anyway, oof, that scared me. In front of him, Rosago's headless corpse faltered a little before collapsing on the side of the sofa. Only then did the woman in the black. Wait, what? Sorry, next page. They didn't attempt the mediumship ritual immediately because Rosago was now tainted by the true creator. Ooh, maybe that's a big problem. Thickly communicating with the spirit was tantamount to committing suicide, but that didn't mean Klein had no choice. He planned on doing the mediumship above the grey fog by bringing Rosago with him. Smart! You have to do it fast though, pronto! With his current spirit body level, even with documentation provided by Isaac's copper whistle, he was unable to move a portable camera, much less a corpse that was several times heavier. However, mediumship wasn't done with the corpse, but the challenging of the remnant spirituality. Klein took out a candle, quickly set up a ritual ceremony, summoned himself and responded to himself, turning into a special spirit body. After becoming a spirit, he saw the distinct remnants of Rosago's spirituality, and he realized that Miss Bodyguard's physical condition was a little strange. He was actually in quite a similar state as he was, but there were also great differences. Oh! Imagine the bodyguard just dies. Without wasting any time, Thin Klein carried Isaac's copper whistle, wrapped the remaining of Rosago's spirituality, and entered the grey fog. Or like she's gonna change, and she's like not gonna be able to. Like maybe she's gonna like actually start worshipping the true Grader now. Like maybe it had that kind of effect on her. After conjuring the appropriate ritual items and setting up a simple altar, Klein quickly began mediumship ritual. During this process, he was shocked to discover that he no longer needed to pray to anyone to be able to directly communicate with the spirit. It was like he was a real spirit medium. This is some special power that I possess in the mysterious space of the grey fog. A thought flashed through Klein's mind as he began to recite divination statement. So he no longer needed to pray to anyone to be able to directly communicate with spirit. Is it because he's in the grey fog? I guess that's a new, like, he found out something very useful. The potion formulas for the seer pathway. I'm so fucking excited. Gains. Bro is gonna get some major gains. I'm just saying. Okay. I have to be. I'm blue balling you so hard, by the way. 51. Be right back. Guys. I'm back. We're gonna read this chapter, or 2 chapters, and I'm gonna take like a 10-minute break to upload the ReZero video. But we're gonna continue and do at least 10 chapters, so don't worry. Gains. Let's continue now. Everyone here? Attendance check. Everyone here? The potion formulas for the seer pathway. Klein leaned back in his chair and tried to communicate with the spirit via dream divination. In a grey illusory world that didn't seem so real, a gas lamp suddenly lit up, illuminating the stone slabs on the ground and desk with a coatskin scroll placed up on top of it. After the seer potion, clown formulas appeared on after another Rosago's tutor with a fur shirt, listening to a voice of unknown origins. Before the advancements, I have to warn you that you have been too reliant on divination. Ah! We're gonna see sequence 7 and 6. Divination is a revelation. Assault is unable to tell us the process. For example, you might decide to invest all your money because the divination says that a railway stock can make money, but in fact that was the revelation really means is that in the long run, in 30 years, the railway stock will make money, and before that it will fall more than it rises. Fate isn't so easy to master, but there are many times when it's impossible to quantify. Divination isn't all powerful. Who is saying that? Secret? Maybe Rosako was also part of Secret Order, but no, maybe not. We don't know though. But the Seer pathway, so maybe he's not the double spy from Faisak. Or wait, let's just keep reading. Let's talk about this later. In addition, divination can be interfered with and cause you to be misled. There are too many things in this world that cannot be understood. If you completely rely on divination, you'll definitely die because of it. Oh, this is good info for Klein as well, by the way. So Rosago is listening to someone. Voice of unknown origins. Divination is a revelation. It must be combined with one's own carefulness, caution, and self-control. Rosago was unable to divine the corresponding danger because the language of foulness was involved with the mysterious space of the grey fog, and that led him to him dying at my hands. Otherwise, with these mystical abilities, it would be difficult for Miss Bodyguard and I to escape it. It is also a reminder for me. Even if I had the grey fog to isolate all interferences, I cannot afford to be careless. No matter how certain my actions are, I need to leave some leeway. From these words, it seems like they aren't aware of the acting method, or oh, maybe. But we know that Secret Order is aware of the acting method. Okay, so maybe Rosago is not part of the Secret Order, I see. Otherwise, some of those words could be directly summed up as being respectful and fearful of fate. As his thoughts phrased, Klein heard Rosago reply as he unfurled the parchment. Sequence 7, Magician! 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 Oh shit! Wait, where is it? Where is it? Here! Magician! Oh! Damn, okay. I was between, that's a good guess, I'm guessing. I was between Magician and like Trickster, but then again, we have Trickster in the Apprentice pathway, or Trickmaster, or was it Trickmaster? So I got rid of that. And thank you, Clown from the Secret Order, for the assist because of his abilities. And we saw in the donghua, for example, he had like a big like magician hat and then a rabbit came out of it. And that was like my main part of the theory, man. Any predictions for the next ones? Maybe Faceless, which is the also Volume 2 name, because Volume 1 was also a sequence in the Seer pathway, so this one might as well be. It's just like a pattern, I guess. But I've been saying like here as well, the Fool might be sequence 1, and also Lord of Mysteries. But now I'm more like leaning towards Lord of Mysteries being the person behind the Grey Fog and Transmigration. We know that maybe Beast Tamer is one of them, right? What else is in a circus? Like, I don't know. Fortune Teller, but that's already Seer. Divinator, also a Seer. Juggler, but no. Juggler is just too basic, right? Also, it doesn't have to be like from a circus, but it can be like something that's like kinda ambiguous, that can mean something from circus, like the Fool, like the Chester. The Fool and the Chester are like kinda similar, or like I guess maybe Chester is similar with Clown rather, yeah. But when you look at the Fool Tarot card, it looks like a Chester. Is Faceless from a circus though? Ooh, good question. I mean, that's a good question, but like I said, like it can be ambiguous. You know what I mean? It can, like, if you think about it, but what could Faceless be in a circus? What could a Faceless be in a circus? Oh god. Do you know these people? I don't know if it is actually like, if it's like a circus thing, but you know those French, like, the things that go like this? What's it called? Marionette? You know, like the performers who like are silent and then, you know what I mean? Maybe like that. Marionetter. What's the word? Marionettist? Maybe. Or mime. Isn't that called the marionette? Something like that? Isn't that the French word? Let me look at that. Marionette. Marionette? Yeah, this thing. Yeah, I meant this. This looks like the Antigono's family puppet though. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. The one that controls... Also, I was thinking about the mime as well, right? But I confused mime and marionette. But this is more likely now because I didn't think of this. I thought mime was marionette, but called marionette. But now, if I look at marionette, this is also likely, right? Let me write that down. 35. Also mime, but mime is negative aura. Mime or marionette. What's marionettist? On the seer pathway. Okay, let's think of more. When are you gonna release the next part of Volume 1? Today or tomorrow? Today, hopefully. Imagine a mime that can copy abilities. True. Copier, mime. What? Let's see. Mime. Yeah, this is a mime. I don't know why I thought it was marionette because it sounded French. Anyway. Okay. Permission, guys. Do you think I can look up on Google circus roles in real life? What do you guys think? Because I never been a circus before. Okay. I think it's fine because it's not load of mystery specific. Circus roles. List of circus skills. Okay, here we go. Strongman. Oh my god, strongman could be so much aura, by the way. Holy shit, but it's nothing like a seer pathway though. Why did I put it in translate? What is happening? Clown. Yeah, I said juggler. Trapeze artist. Ringmaster. Oh, this is like the boss man. This is like the boss of the circus, right? Acrobat. I mean, this is abilities fall under clown. Tightrope walker as well falls under clown. Magician, sequence 7. Strongman. But I don't know. I don't think strongman fits though. You know what I mean? Acrobatic. What's dance? Deer and dressure. Freaks. Vulgar and Joes. Freak might be a shout, by the way. Sequence 3, freak. Faceless are kinda like freaks. Oh, I did not think about that. Monkey! Sequence 1, monkey! Lion tamer, beast tamer, horse, sea lion, tightrope, trapeze. What's a trapeze? That keeps coming up. Trapeze. A trapeze circles apparatus, a short horizontal bar hung by... Oh, I guess this kind of falls under clown. Knife throwing. Fire breather. Human cannon. Ringmaster. Monkey. Anyway. Yeah, okay, so... Mime and marionettist. Funny how marionettist wasn't mentioned on the list, by the way. It can be like freak of nature. Like, You know how we have, what's it called? Snake of Mercury, right? Solar High Priest. Rose Bishop. Weapons Master. Why can't we have like a freak of nature? Freak of divination? Freak of something? But I guess maybe faceless is like freak. Oh, I don't know. Let's put like and or freak of something, right? I think. Interesting. Anyway, let's continue. A magician! Good guess, right? Main ingredients: 1 true root or a mist tree ant. 1 true root of a mist tree ant, all the spinal fluid of dark pattern Black Panther. A lot of spinal fluid going on. Supplementary ingredients: 60 ml of purified water, 30 ml of mist tree ant juice, 3 grams of droplet gem powder, 4 drops of fantasy grass essential oil. Magician is also part of a circus. It can be formed the foundations of a circus with seers and clowns. Klein first lampooned before he recalled the pseudo clown that he had encountered before. From the looks of it, he was a magician. Exactly, his abilities seem to include the ability to fire air bullets, making flaming jumps, and throwing in slips of paper and weapons. Not bad. Not just being able to cast spells quickly can greatly increase my battle prowess. Yeah, as his thoughts flashed through his mind, Klein saw the scene before him change. This time it was a splendid room surrounded by golden statues and ornaments. Golden statues and ornaments? Someone rich? Freak has no aura, but that's why I think it's like a freak of something. That's what I think, maybe. It was the same voice from before, but it reminded Rosago of the same thing. According to my experience after you consumed the faceless potion. Oh my god, next page. What the fuck? Next page. Oh my god. You have to remember at this point you can disguise yourself into anyone, but you are ultimately yourself. Oh! 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 That's the ability how he got into being, what was his name again? The police officer. Sergeant, Vaccine. That's so fucking true. I should have thought about that, man. My brain is trembling. Okay, Faceless is one of them. I didn't write it down. What the fuck? Did I write it down? Anyway, Faceless was one of them. So, sequence 7 Magician, sequence 6 Faceless. Because he will talk about sequence 6 right after, right? So, let's write down 6 and 7. Yeah, also Miracle Invoker, by the way. I think the top sequences have more like aura than the previous one, so it might... I had the wrong account, but whatever. 7... Magician. Sequence 6. Faceless. We are eating so good. We are eating so fucking good, guys. Faceless. This should be beyond their power that allowed Rosago to transform into Officer Vaccine. Exactly. From the looks of it, the fake detective serial was also played by him. Ah, makes so much more sense now. Creeping Hunger allowed Chilangos to transform into a person with different looks. This matches this beyond their power. Exactly, so Chilangos had Faceless in the Creeping Hunger. The looks of it, some faces tied at his hand, such as power cannot augment a person in a straight-up battle, but it's more useful than 90% of all beyond their power, so on many occasions. It's no wonder that Rosago dared to come and attempt to kill me and wasn't afraid to fall into the trap. This power of great significance to me. At this thought, Klein's eyes widened as he saw Rosago pick up thin, gold page with words written in Hermes. Sequence 6 faceless. Main ingredients mutated butcherly clanned thousand-faced hunter. Characteristics of a human skinned shadow. What the fuck does that mean? Human skinned shadow. Is that a sequence? Because it's characteristics like beyond their characteristics. Human skinned shadow. Shadow. Oh, we have unshadowed. Beyonder creature. What the fuck is a beyonder creature? Supplementary ingredients: 80 ml of thousand-faced hunter blood, 5 drops of black Jimson juice, 10 grams of dragon tooth grass powder, 3 strands of hair from deep sea naga. Deep sea naga. Thousand-faced hunter. That seemed to be a type of dragon, but not a particularly powerful kind. It shouldn't be a dragon of the spiritual system, but it's still extremely rare. It's almost extinct. Oh, that's why. Ooh, use his characteristics. Can you not use his beyond their characteristics? The instantly called the corresponding mysticism knowledge. At this point, the scene before him didn't change, but Rosago attire and location did. He wore a white wig, dark tuxedo, and had thick beard. This advancement is no longer as simple as before. The potions must be consumed in conjunction with the ritual. If you succeed, you'll obtain one of the most irresistible Beyonder powers beneath that of high sequence Beyonders. The speaker voice had changed, turning into one that sounded even older. What does that mean? Conjunction with the ritual. I'm guessing the power he means here is faceless, like transformation power, right? Because you can do so much of that. Having expected that, Rosago asked, "What's the ritual?" "Go to the sea, find a mermaid, and drink the potion while she's singing." What? The speaking old man opened an ancient book that depicted countless serious symbols in it. Suddenly, an array of light flashed from the book surface as lines of ancient hermes appeared in midair. Sequence 5 marionettist! What the fuck? Oh, it's for the next one. Ah, I see. I see. Okay, I thought this was Mario. I just talked about that. That's so funny. That's actually so fucking funny, dude. Holy. Mario. By the way, this is a complete accident. Because I thought Marionettist was a mime. Right? Right? Because it sounds French. Mario. Right? And the French people do that. So I was right, but for the wrong reason. But when I looked up a marionettist on Google to see like what marionettist is in like real life circus, I saw the puppet master and was like, oh, that can be one. So I was fucking right, dude. I don't think mime is gonna be there anymore because mime doesn't have aura. Marionettist kinda does. So marionettist, wait. So he was sequence 5 marionettist. There is no beast tamer then. Because marionettist is the abilities that artifact 2049 had, right? The artifact 2049 had the abilities of marionettist. Yeah, makes sense. Oh my god. Okay. When I saw the picture, by the way, where is it? When I saw the picture of a marionette here. This, oh my god, this is so creepy, but when I saw this earlier, I immediately thought of the 2049 because this is basically what it is, right? Holy frick, dude. A sequence 5 cooked by sequence 8. I mean, it was because of the foulness charm, and it was also because of, what's it called? The bodyguard. Whose name was spoiled on me on chat, so I know her name, but I'm not gonna say it because, maybe because they like tried to deceive me or something. I don't know. Also, it was the bodyguard as well, but there was a foulness charm that did it, but still like cooked by Klein because Klein was the one that did it, right? His bodyguard is strong. Yeah, they're fighting. We didn't see that like in our outside of this world. Basically, the fight was like that. Anyway, yeah, this is a marionette, I guess, and then a marionette is the one that controls the marionette. Is it a French word? Okay, it is a French word.
Marionnette. Marionnette.
Yeah, see? In French, marionnette means little Mary. During the Middle Ages, string puppets were often used in France with the biblical events with Virgin Mary being a popular character, hence the name. Marionnette. Osako is a fraud. He sucked, dude. He underestimated Klein so much, by the way. Aren't like marionettes kind of creepy though? Because what the hell is this, dude? What the frick? That's cute. Guys, watch out. Artifact 2049. Anyway, let's keep reading. I'm so fucking happy, dude. Oh my god. I'm having so much fun with the new chapter. Sorry, the new volume. When Klein saw they suddenly had a headache, it was a signal that his spirituality was close to being trained. In the previous battles, just the language of fallenness charm alone had consumed most of his spirituality. Later on, not only did he use 3 more charms from the Evernight Goddess domain, but he had also summoned himself and responded to himself to hold out until now, showed how much progress he had made compared to before, as well as the noticeable improvement in the digestion of the clown potion. The scene flickered and was on the brink of shattering. Klein held on and scanned the remaining content of the formula. Let's not act as if any sequence 5 won't have underestimated sequence 8. Exactly, yeah, true. Klein wouldn't. I don't think Klein would, because Klein is really cautious and Klein overthinks a lot. Don't you guys think so? And that's like one of his, I'm guessing, like one of his strong suits, but also overthinking might be his downfall in the future. I don't know. At this point, the scene before him didn't change, but Rosago's attire and location did. He wore a white wig, a dark tuxedo, and had a thick beard. Oh, he's in an act of transformation, I guess, or in a faceless. This advancement is no longer as simple as before. The potions must be consumed in conjunction with a ritual. If you succeed, you'll obtain one of the most irresistible Beyonder powers beneath that of an high sequence Beyonder. Wait, what? What am I reading? Where am I? Oh, I'm reading on the wrong spot. That's crazy. When Klein saw this, his eyelids had an headache. It was a signal that his spirituality was close to being trained. In the previous battle, just the language of foulness charm alone had consumed most of his spirituality. Not only did he use 3 more charms from the Evernight Goddess domain, but it also summoned himself and responded to himself to hold out until now, showed out how much progress he had made compared to before, as well as the noticeable improvement in the digestion of the clown potion. The scene flickered and was on the brink of shattering. Klein held on and scanned the remaining content of the formula. Main ingredients: dust of ancient wraiths, core crystal of a 6-winged gargoyle. Gargoyles are real? Interesting, I mean, I'm not surprised. Supplementary ingredients: 80 ml of spring water from Sonia Island, Golden Spring, 10 grams of Prego bark, remnant spirituality of ancient wraiths, 1 pair of eyes from 6-winged gargoyle. Advancement ritual: consume potion in the midst of a singing mermaid song. Kacha! Klein stopped holding out any longer as he allowed the dream to shatter into countless illusory specks of light to disappear. He pinched his forehead, almost fainting, as the remnants of Rosago's spirituality and the hints of madness faded away. He was pushed back into the real world by an invisible force. So that's it. Consume potion in the midst of a singing mermaid song. I guess Klein has to seek out a mermaid in the future, right? The ground stained with blood, brains, hair, and all sorts of fragments under Klein's vision. He bent over and reached out a little, clearing his head a little. I mean, isn't... Klein is one of the first people to, like, rent your home to you, man. There's a lot of, like, brains in the carpet now. I'll be sent out of the mysterious space of the grey fog when I'm out of spirituality. Klein looked around and saw that Miss Bodyguard was still asleep. Yeah, because he used a lot of spirituality earlier. He hurriedly extinguished the candle, tidied up the items related to the ritual, and then panted heavily. After a while, he finally regained some of his spirituality. At that moment, a gust of wind blew at the back of his neck, causing him to shiver as his mind froze. Oh, is this the bodyguard? Klein turned his head abruptly and looked at the oriel window again. He saw that Miss Bodyguard in her black gothic regal dress had woken up and was floating in the air. What the fuck? Her pale blonde hair and pale face seemed to have diminished a little. Her entire person seemed less corporeal, at the point of her skin appearing somewhat transparent. Yeah, it's because she was also in a lot of pain and like trying to like, I don't know, pull her skin out because of the foulness charm, right? And she has a little, like she had a really big fight as well, so of course she's tired. Klein quickly explained according to the explanation he had thought of. After he blew his head off, I discovered that his body was still squirming. Because I was afraid he would come back alive, I quickly used all the charms on me. I was very nervous and panicking at the time. He might have affected you. Ah, okay, nice. This is probably the risk that the divination had revealed earlier. If she's not satisfied with the explanation and thinks that I attacked her, then I finish, Klein thought nervously. Exactly true. His true feelings made his performance even more perfect. Miss Bodyguard lowered her head and looked at herself and asked in an unperturbed tone, "What charm was it at the beginning?" So it looks like she is not mad, and she's not, you know, worshipping the true creator mindlessly. So I'm guessing it didn't have like long-lasting effects on her. I bought it black ear at the gathering for £400. I was told that I could hear the voice of a great existence, and I was lucky enough. I would benefit greatly. If I was unlucky, I would die on the spot. Back then, I would 10%, by the way. Back then, I couldn't get a bodyguard, and since I was in much danger, I could only take the gamble. The result was pretty good, and Klein replied absolutely truthfully. When I heard the voice of the great existence, the black ear shattered by itself and turned into such a charm. Damn, selective lie. Selective lie. Miss Bodyguard's blue eyes swept over him slowly. The room was silent as it was frozen. Finally, the lady in the black regal dress nodded. You better find a psychiatrist. Oh, sequence 7? You mean that I become a potential lunatic? Yes, she has guessed that it was a relic of a listener, and she understands that Rosago's spirituality must have been trained by the true creator. She won't suspect that I had deliberately made her sleep to take the opportunity to perform a mediumship. It would also explain why I had gotten rid of the effects of the ravings faster than she did. After all, I'm a potential lunatic created by the true creator, Klein smirked. Klein is smirked because Klein was so proud that what he thought of was genius, and it worked, man. It was genius. He's allowed to smirk. My goat. Let's hurry up and clean up the scene. M9 might just come over. Let's hurry up and clean up the scene. M9 might come over to take a look. He pointed at Rosago's headless body. What about his Beyonder characteristic? Is it in the grey fog? As he spoke, Klein put on a pair of gloves and squatted down to look for any relics. He quickly found more than 10 pounds in cash, some essential oils and herbal powder, 2 crudely cut paper figures, and a strange piece of paper. This piece of paper was orange in color, and on it were symbols corresponding to the sun. The magic emblem formed a blank rectangle, and just by holding it in his hand, he found the very form and sedate. Oh, this is like the like a charm from the sun pathway or bard pathway, right? That calms you. What is this? Klein didn't hide his puzzlement. Without him realizing it, Miss Bodyguard was already floating behind him. She answered simply, "A mystical option corresponding to a notary." Notary. Oh, it's notary is a lawyer thing, right? Is notary a sequence in the lawyer pathway? I think so, right? Notary. That has such a negative aura, by the way. Notary. Klein was surprised at first, but he soon remembered that Rosago was an intelligent officer in the Indian Republic. People there believed in the eternal blazing sun and the god of machinery. Similarly, the eternal blazing sun was also the god of deeds. Wait. Notary. Are we thinking of the same thing? Or no? I'm pretty sure we're thinking of the same thing. Like the lawyer thing. Wait. Notary meaning... a person authorized to perform certain legal formalities. Yeah. Especially to draw up certified contract deeds. So... interesting. Rosago is the goat. Delusional. This is the sequence 6 or sequence 5 of the Bard pathway. Why would it be on the Bard pathway though? Notary is literally a thing to do with law. Is Klein just wrong here? Rare Klein L? Rosago is the most ass-tier pathway. It's a skill issue. If the notarization is valid, the Beyonder powers will be temporarily enhanced. If the notarization is invalid, the Beyonder powers will forcibly dispersed. Miss Beautyguard didn't explain it further and gave a rough description of an issue. Glenn's about to say something when he saw an eerie glow emitting out of Rosago's headless body and a bloody brain mush. They attracted each other to form a blob that transformed into a black pupilless eye. Oh, like spying on them? August, the eternal blazing sun, is the god of deeds? Oh. Oh, yeah, true. Wait. Theory. Lawyer and the sun pathway are... You can switch between. Lawyer and sun pathway. How do I like word it? You can switch between. I want to like allied pathways maybe, but that is very ambiguous. When I say switch between, that's too literal. I guess switch between. Interchange. Ah, thank you. English skill issue again. Interchangeable. Lawyer and Sun pathway are interchangeable. There we go. Klein was about to say something when he saw an eerie glow emitting out of Rosago's headless body and a bloody brain mush. They attracted each other to form a blob that transformed into a black pupilless eye. Someone's looking at you, bro. Oh, black pupilless eye! Wait a second. It's sheer pathway, like the one behind Klein in the grey fog. Then what is this? Klein asked again, feigning ignorance. Something worthless, Miss Bodyguard maintained, very way of speaking. Worthless? Klein asked with a frown. Actually understood what Miss Bodyguard meant. Normally, if Rosago eventually lost control, he would leave behind a strange and terrifying sealed artifact. Within his beyond characteristics could be used as the main ingredient of a marionettist. In short, it will be of great value. However, the problem was that he hadn't lost control, but was also tainted by the true creator. Hence, it had become a potion of main ingredient that was branded by an evil god. Using it to concoct a marionettist potion was equivalent of committing suicide by ingesting poison. Ooh, but can you not like sell it and say, oh, it's a Beyonder characteristic, and then some fool will buy it? You can sell it for 5,000 pounds, but then he will die. But Klein gets 5,000 gold. Sun pathway and lawyer pathway have a similar authority over quote-unquote order. Yeah, that's why I think maybe it might be interchangeable, because pathways that have something in common are interchangeable, I think. Some fool, yeah, some fool will buy it for 5,000, and Klein is gonna get $5,000 richer. In short, it will be great of value. However, the problem was that, yeah, exactly. Miss Bodyguard looked at the entire black eye and said in a low and ethereal voice, "It has been contaminated by an evil god. It has no value anymore. If it really is of value, then one that's very valuable, I won't even worry that you'll finish me off in passing." Klein pointed at Rosago remains and said, "These are our common spoils of war. We'll each pick a few. You'll first." Oh, looting him. Klein is a fraud. Klein is not a fraud. Miss Bodyguard shot him a glance without a word. She rolled it over and took the notary certificate. "Just like I thought. In the future, I should find and learn the knowledge or in mysticism to remove all evil gods' contamination." Klein took out an iron cigar case and bent down to pick up the black eye. Interesting. Very interesting. I think it will only scam someone if they deserve to get scammed. Yeah, true. You're right. True, you're right. That's what you meant by a fraud, not evil. That's true. Anyway, 251. 252. Oh, epilogue? Are we ending? Anyway, what I want to say is this chapter took me 45 minutes, by the way, to read. This whole chapter took 45 minutes because we have so much info, and I theorized for like 30 minutes. So we're not gonna talk about it again. If you missed it, you can go back in the stream, but we got sequence 7 magician, sequence 6 Faceless in sequence 5 marionette is revealed in this episode. So let's go next one right now. Scamming innocent believers content fraud. Yeah, I take it back. Let's go. As soon as Klein's fingers touched the black eye, he heard illusory sounds as throbbing pain seared through his head. But at the same time, something strange appeared in the vision. There were countless illusory black threads that spread out from Miss Bodyguard and his own body. They emanated from the bodies out into the void towards some boundless distance. Okay. Interesting. This was seen that could horrify people with trypophobia. Oh, holes. Okay. Gotcha. Who the fuck? Klein suddenly gritted his teeth, unable to endure the corruptive feeling any longer. Oh no, Klein isn't corrupted. As he placed the black eye into the iron cigar case, everything restored to normal and the negative side effects he suffered subsided. Only then Klein had the energy to make guesses. Is that the essence of marionettist beyond their powers? It allows me to see and control certain threads connecting every person in body and spirit. Oh my god, that sounds so much like Aura, by the way. But you have to be close to them, no? It allows me to see and control certain threads connecting every person, body and spirit. What a pity that it's contaminated. The side effects are too great and it cannot be used as a mystical item. For now, disregarding an attempt to purify it about the grey fog, this will be considered the second time that I am provoking the two Grader. It's very likely that he will prepare himself and seek me out. If that happened, I probably won't have a chance of reviving again. I should learn and master the relevant knowledge before making a decision. Ugh, he exhaled, and after Miss Bodyguard chose the crude paper figurines and the responding materials, he bent down again to pick up the 13-pound 5 solid and 8 pence. When looking at Rosago's headless body and the blood over the floor, he said with a slight headache, let's clean up the scene. The pale blonde Miss Bodyguard floated to the side and calmly said, let me do it. You? Klein stopped, puzzled and shocked before turning his head. Miss Bodyguard followed to Rosago's side, crouched down and went to lie down under the body. She slowly sank in and fused with the corpse. Ew! She is from the death pathway, right? We have 2049 at home. Exactly. She's sequence 5 of or 6 of the death pathway, maybe. Anyway, she slowly sank in and fused with the corpse. The fingers of Rosago's body twitched twice, and the blood-brain matter and fragments around it flowed backward, forming a new head at the neck. However, the head was covered with countless cracks, just like the disgusting toy made from the fragments. Ugh. It was like class. Yum, by the way. She said yum. No, she's not from Death Pathway. You should not confirm the guess, by the way. Mods! Why do you confirm or deny? I don't do that. Was glass that had shattered but didn't crumble immediately. There was still blood and brain matter flowing inside, as well as the reflection of the bullet from the revolver. Klein couldn't help but take a step back, feeling that this was definitely one of the most terrifying forms in any ghost story. Rosago's corpse climbed to its feet, picked up the police cap and half covered its face. The murder scene had been cleaned, leaving 0 traces. Incomparable professionalism, Klein marveled in his heart. I know, right? How did she do that? He watched as Miss Bodyguard steered the corpse to lumber the door. He subsequently warned her Don't take a carriage or walk in brightly lit places. It won't widen the carriage driver and other passers-by. Miss Bodyguard didn't stop, completely ignoring his words. Oh my god, Chad. Suddenly Klein thought of something. He realized that he had overlooked as he quickly added, on the way back to the Rice police station, Sergeant Vaccine home or search around Main Street for the clothes Rosago was originally wearing. Rosago came wearing a police uniform. Oh, smart, by the way. Very smart. you... Lone can, come on. Anyway, if she's not on death pathway, maybe she's on the monster pathway or something like that. Maybe. Suddenly Klein thought of something, he realized that he had overlooked as he quickly added, oh, the way back to the Rice police station, Sergeant Vaccine home, research around Main Street for the clothes Rosago was originally wearing. Yeah, exactly. That doesn't mean Rosago died, by the way. Anyway, Rosago came wearing a police uniform, and the owners of a faceless were obviously limited to himself, so where did the previous clothes? He couldn't have been wearing a police uniform all night. So he's gonna go and find some more loot in the pockets of Rosago's original clothes, right? So where were his previous clothes? He couldn't have been wearing a police uniform all night. If MI9 and the police officers and the police found Rosago close nearby and realized that I'm not hurt, things will be a little tricky. Miss Bodyguard is an expert at not considered a legal beyonder. That's not considered a legal beyonder. For a normal detective to pay £1,000 to hire a bodyguard is enough to arouse suspicion, Ryan kept thinking, trying to seal all the loopholes ahead of time. Just as he was about to use his divination ability to help Miss Bodyguard find Rosago's old clothes and return to missing uniform, Rosago's corpse paused and replied in a rusty voice, I know. Oh, is that because the bodyguard is like controlling the corpse or something? What the fuck? She seems very confident. Alright, Miss Bodyguard's state is between the physical body and the spirit body, and the principle behind divination is to travel the spirit world with an astral protection. Oh, I said that earlier. That she's not, she's actually in the spirit world, right? Thus, she can rely on her instincts to divine. Having realized this, Klein didn't say any other word. He handed the cartridge case to Rosago corpse and watched it open the door, walked out, and closed the door politely. The spoil of war that this is so scary, by the way. The bodyguard is so fucking scary doing that. Spoil of war that I chose as a beyonder characteristic contaminated by the true creator. I believe that no one will be able to divine it. Even if they did, they would feel the danger ahead of time and won't dare to proceed with divination. Oh, true. While thinking over the matter, Klein walked back to the sofa and sat down, feeling a lingering sense of fear. The battle has lasted up to had lasted no more than a minute. Holy shit, but time was slowed for Klein because he was feeling really sluggish. Nor had it been fierce enough to destroy anything, but the ferocity and danger of it had been second only to what he had experienced when facing Megus and her baby in her womb. Even with the powerful Miss Bodyguard in the language of foulness, he had almost fallen under Rosago's control and killed without being able to put up a resistance. The ability of a marionettist is very old and very powerful. According to the law of Beyonder characteristics conservation, the Beyonder characteristics left behind by Rosago should include all of the main ingredients of the potion sequences 5, 6, 7, and 8 and 9. It wasn't contaminated by an evil god. Oh my, that's actually, that would have been so good for him, by the way. Holy shit. It wasn't contaminated by the evil god. If it was matched with the supplementary ingredients, an ordinary person could instantly become a sequence 5 beyonder. Of course, this kind of advancement method, depending entirely on luck, has long been abandoned by history. It's the most primitive and most dangerous method. Yeah, because imagine going and skipping and then you just fucking lose control and die. 1 in a billion genetics can do that, by the way. Advancing step by step according to the sequence is the best way to, and that has been verified by the lives of countless predecessors. There's always some like fool who just skips, right? If I can get rid of the corruption of the true creator in the future, then I can also use the Beyonder characteristics left behind by Rosago when advancing from sequence 6 to sequence 5. Additional characteristics will only make me stronger, like the captain. As Klein recalled the best... Oh, I love how he keeps saying the captain, by the way. Don Smith has a really big place in Klein's heart, by the way. Necessary sacrifices, yep. As Klein recalled the bath, he raised his hand to pinch his forehead. He turned to think about something more important. Rosago's appearance meant that the struggle over the manuscript had ended. Could this lack of charms have to do with finishing all his charms in battle? To come at such a critical juncture, it's likely he had intention of diverting attention. Heh, MI9 probably didn't expect him to seek revenge so boldly under such circumstances. They didn't send anyone to monitor me and couldn't only passively wait for Rosago to give them the signal. Rosago was Bakerland's assistant, and his actions should be directed only by Bakerland. After his death, as long as Bakerland is dead, there will be no more latent dangers left. Exactly, he cooked hard. I wonder if the assassination has begun or if it succeeded. Mr. A fucking succeeded. Tonight, because of the battle over Helmhusen's manuscript, the powers defending Bakerland will be at its weakest. If it were me, I definitely would not miss this opportunity. I'm sure Bakerland didn't think that someone would assassinate him. With nothing to do, Klein fished out a coin and recited with a suppressed stone. Bakerland's already dead. Ding! Ding! If my bodyguard possesses the body of a guy who got his head blown to small pieces and stick it back somehow, I might stay awake for an entire week from being traumatized by the gore just saying. Exactly, bro. Mr. A, Mr. Aindu, oh shit. Also, Nguyen, I think it's just built different, you know? Ding! The penny trembled in the air and fell down with the palm of Klein's hand, head facing up. It meant a positive result. Bakerland is dead. The assassination was a success. Klein was overjoyed. His tensed up nerves immediately relaxed. Let me think for a second. 37. Klein's bodyguard is on the monster pathway. That's what I'm thinking. Because unfortunately I was spoiled by chat. Someone said she's not on the death pathway, so I was wrong about that. Actually, before we keep reading, I wanna go and see again. What do we have in monster so far? Sequence 6 is missing. Sequence 6 is missing. Maybe sequence 6 on the monster pathway. Sequence 4 is also missing, but she was struggling against sequence 5 marionettist, so unlikely that she's sequence 4. Maybe I think she's sequence 6 or 5, right? Don't think on the reader pathway, don't think in the prisoner, don't think, maybe, don't know, of course not. Assassin, probably no. Secrets, no. Apothecary, no. Planter, no. Arbiter, no. Warrior, no. Hunter, no. Savant, no. Apprentice, maybe. No. Marauder, no. Seer, no. Sleepless, no. Mystery Prior, Warlock, maybe? Probably not. Spectator, no. Sailor, no. It has to be monster then, right? Count all pathways. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. We have all of them. She's willing to take on sequence 5, so at least sequence 5, I'm guessing, but I have all the pathways now, right? Prisoner. Winner? That doesn't seem anything like I'm like trying to like see her abilities and then connect them to like pathways, but I was thinking immediately death, but no. Interesting. Keep reading, exactly. I thought I had a revelation in a second here, guys. I'm gonna write down monster pathway right now, but I'm not confident. I can add Seer 5. Yeah, true. Imagine, by the way, we are nearly filled in. We need 4, 3, and 1. That's it. 4, 3, and then 1. Right? I think 1 is Lord of Mysteries or Fool. But I think more likely the Fool than Lord of Mysteries because, like I said before, Lord of Mysteries is probably the person who made Klein transmigrate. Anyway. Skip reading. Miracle Invoker is so cool though. Ding! The bunny tumbled in the air and fell down into the palm of Klein's hand, head facing up. It meant a positive result. Bakerland is dead, the assassination was a success. Klein was overjoyed, his tensed up nerves immediately relaxed. Without Rosago's interference, he believed that the result was correct. The matter was finally ended. Klein took a deep breath and slowly exhaled. He leaned back slowly on the sofa and looked out of the window at the faint crimson moon amid his fatigue and relief. Inside the Indian public embassy, 2 military officers were squatting beside BAKERLAND, body examining the cause of his death. Mr. A just killed him, and then update chapter. How long has it been? Oh my god, it's been 3 chapters long, by the way. Been wrong for 3 chapters. Sorry, guys. The partners and their superior had already gone out chasing B to capture the assassin. However, everyone knew that it was already too late. There was no hope left. W. Mr. A, by the way. Mr. Aindu. The severe lung damage suspected pneumonia. The lung damage came from the Demoness of Affliction ability, apparently. Suspected to be a result of a disease, extremely strong fatal blow, one much stronger than all the sequence 5 Beyonder attacks I ever seen. Ooh, one of the military officers said in a low voice, so sequence 4 maybe? Disease on the floor and the bed, there are obvious marks of flesh and blood magic on the ground and on the bed, but none on the wall. Besides, the commotion of the fight wasn't transmitted outside. Finally, with the lethal blow having the characteristics of corruption and operation, there are at least 4 unconnected Beyonder powers. Exactly, because Shepard also confuses everyone, right? Who are investigating a battle between a Shepard and someone. You're like, oh, there are at least like 4 different abilities here. So I'm guessing then most likely they'll say, oh, it's sequence 5 Shepard. Besides, the commotion on the fight wasn't transmitted outside. Finally, the little bow having the characteristics of corruption and operation. At least 4 unconnected Beyonder powers. Another military officer stood up and began to describe the situation as he was talking to himself. Suddenly stopped and looked at the other military official. They said in unison, Shepard! Exactly, that's what they always come conclusion to, right? After a few seconds of silence, the squatting military official frowned and said, I might be a group with at least 4 different Beyonders. Then we'll wait to be charged. It's normal for us to discover the infiltration of a single Rose Bishop, but how did the other 3 do it? It's impossible. Standing military official denied the guess as he insistently said. However, I have heard of another sequence that can create similar effects. I think it's called Screep. You are just strong. It is Shepard. But Pro thinks it's Screeb. What does Screeb even mean, by the way? Screeb meaning a person who's copied out documents, especially one employed to do this before printing. A Jewish record keeper. Right. Oh, scribe. Sorry, scribe. Oh, scribe. Sorry. That must be so like... That must have made you so angry, by the way. You guys. Scribe. What did I say? Scribe? Yeah, it's scribe.
Scribe. Scribe.
Anyway. Scribe, again, by the way, we are going to the notes. Scribe, maybe the reader pathway, right? Because you write, but then again, reader is the opposite of write, but whatever. Lawyer, maybe. Maybe lawyer. Scribe is on the lawyer or reader pathway. Here we go. I don't know what pathway it is, nor do I know what organization it belongs. The squatting military officer said, a Shepard is the prime suspect Aurora, there's a bunch of lunatics. Yeah, exactly. It's nothing odd for them to do anything. Let's begin investigating the identity of the woman that seduced the ambassador. Damn it, the Lower Kingdom definitely won't permit our investigation. The woman was also a Aurora Order member who was a devout believer that, you know, was agreed to take as a sacrifice, you know. Also, whatever pathway scribe is on might be a pathway that's interchangeable with the secret suppliant pathway. I want to write that down as well. Maybe, because they have similar abilities, right? And what makes it interchangeable? Similarities. Whatever pathway type is interchangeable with secret. Maybe. My theory is getting longer. 39, by the way. There are some that are correct already, like Magician and Audrey making a private company of detective. So I'll find a way to like put them somewhere else and mark it if it's correct, mark it if it's wrong, and mark it what it hasn't been revealed yet, right? At 15, they were bound to... Sorry. Damn it, the Lower Kingdom definitely won't permit our investigations. Those are all other bastards and lunatics who deserve to be fucked by donkeys. Jesus Christ! Blood said fucked by donkeys. The standing military official shook his head in frustration. They were bound to be punished for the ambassador's assassination. Sheesh. Knowing the Aurora... They're not the Aurora Order, yeah. Was it the Aurora Order? Yeah. Knowing the Aurora Order, they will like that. They would love that, because they're fucking lunatics. At 15, Main Street, Klein pretended to, as though nothing had happened, putting up with his fatigue. He flipped through the papers. After about 20 minutes, he only saw a Miss Bodyguard in her black regal dress and long pale blonde hair appear in the oriel window. Oh, welcome back. Is it done? Klein subsequently asked. Miss Bodyguard nodded slightly with a word. Phew! Klein thought for a moment before saying, "Thank you for your protection. This matter ends here. I'll pay you the remaining £100 in 2 days, as you know there's a withdrawal limit. Or should I hand it over to Marek?" Marek is gonna be a recurring character, but he's really suspicious. The pale-faced lady opened and closed her mouth, her voice seemingly ethereal as it echoed in the air. "Just give it to me. I promise to protect you for 3 days, not just once." Gonna stick around for a few days. The true creator tells them to, then yeah, I know, right? The true creator can just troll them so hard. You really abide by the contract. However, this will be very inconvenient for me. Are you going with me to catch the tall turtles in bed tomorrow? What the hell? 3 days. Today is Thursday, and the protection will be over by Sunday afternoon. Yes, thankfully it won't affect the tarot gathering. Oh, lucky timing. Ryan rubbed his forehead and said, "Alright, how should I address you? You don't need to know." "You don't need to know." Miss Bodyguard lifted her gothic regal dress, bowed slightly, and disappeared from the oriel window. Well, I know, because some fool spoiled her name. You're not a fool, I'm sorry. She makes his money worth. I know, right? She is very trustworthy, it seems like. And she abides by the contract as well. It's really cool. Anyway. 1 second, guys. Let's continue. Q53. Add. Chili has quite the character, Klein smiled in response to Miss Bodyguard's reply, a very obvious smile. Yes, to be able to fend off Rosago, a marionettist for a short period of time, to the extent of having a seesaw battle, she most likely has sequence 5 beyond her. I wonder what sequence pathway she belongs to and what her potion name is. Her state is rather unique. If it weren't for her, I wouldn't have had the chance to use the language of foulness. Klein picked up the newspaper beside him and pretended to read, but he was actually thinking. Maybe it's Mystery Briar, actually. However, he quickly turned his attention back to the issue of whether there were still loopholes in the matter. For example, the contaminant and beyonder characteristic left behind by Rosago had an intense luster of spirituality. It's very likely that it could be concealed by the iron cigar case alone, so it would be exposed under the prying eyes of others using spirit vision. Exactly. Remember to like my stream? Yeah, exactly. Thank you. Klein secretly activated spirit vision and looked down at his pocket. He could see faint, colorful lusters emanating from within iron cigar case, but it wasn't obvious and it was rather thin. This was mixed with the color of his own aura, making it difficult to distinguish or detect it. That's right, only a high sequence beyonder can identify it through 2 levels of interferences. No wonder all kinds of materials... fucking... sorry. Total change. No wonder all kinds of materials like herbal powders and the corresponding essential oil extracts are kept in metal bottles and not wooden vessels. It's because they contain spirituality, and those with better spirit vision can see through wood and see the colors of the auras. Klein suddenly understood some of the important details in mysticism. In the past, he did things according to the rules without considering the reasons behind them, but now he understood the underlying reason behind the rules. After repeatedly checking and ensuring that everything was in order, Klein put down the newspaper and walked to the second floor. He originally planned to take off his clothes and take a bath, completely relax himself, but then he thought of how Miss Bodyguard would appear out of nowhere in his house. He felt a little uneasy. Therefore, he only washed his face, brushed his teeth, and soaked his feet in hot water. No baths no showers and baths for you for 2 more days, little bro. Going to his bedroom and taking off his coat, Klein hid his belongings before he collapsed into the bed. He was exhausted and had held on for quite a while. He ended up with tense nerves that prevented him from quickly falling asleep. Opening his eyes to look at the crimson moonlight on the ceiling, Klein didn't attempt to sleep with the help of cogitation. Instead, he aimlessly unfurled his thoughts, as it were riding a horse without pulling at the reins. As his thoughts wandered, he quickly noticed a problem, having encountered too many coincidences in Dingle City and later learning how it was related to seal artifact 008. My second case after arriving in BAKERLAND allowed me to get the next 3 potion formulas. Is that too much of a coincidence? Bro, it's just like me, man. Bro, bro is talking like it's some kind of torture. I know, right? Anyway. That's what I was saying. In the beginning of the stream, I said, oh, 008, obviously, Inns and 008 are not controlling the coincidence now, but there always might be some higher being, like the person who allowed Klein to transmigrate, who created the Grey Fog, or the previous owner of the Grey Fog, who might be named Lord of Mysteries, is controlling Klein's fate even more, right? So I think coincidence PTSD is justified and it's a real thing. Although this is in line with the revelation from my divination, BAKERLAND contains the opportunities for me to become powerful. Isn't just too fast and simple. Simple doesn't refer to the difficulty, but rather to the degree of twists and turns in the matter. This matter was very difficult and dangerous, but it wasn't complex and appeared simple. According to my expectations, I would have gathered information according to the secret order through Miss Justice, Mr. Hangman, and Miss Shio and her companion, and then I would catch the tail of this ancient organization. After numerous twists and turns, I would eventually obtain the formulas, and that would have taken at least 3 months. Who knew that I would have succeeded in less than 3 weeks? Can't be that it was arranged by someone again, right? Right! Yes, I may think through the circumstances again. It's no coincidence that the Intis Republic is related to the secret order. Emperor Cell's diary has confirmed this circumstantially. The abilities of Seer and Faceless are very suited for intelligent organization. From meet sequence beyonder of a similar pathway to become an assistant of an intelligent Tsar like BAKERLAND is reasonable and normal. That's not a coincidence. Randomly like saying he's a Tsar? What? The reason that the ambassador sent someone to take revenge on me likely has to do with him wanting to divert attention, then sending Rosago, who can most easily succeed and escape the choice with reduced risk. It's not surprising at all. It was quite normal for Ian to look for new detectives in the papers after none of the detectives he knew were willing to accept his mission of tracking down Serial. There weren't many new detectives advertising on the papers at the time, and I was probably the only one. Well, I was the only one on the BAKERLAND bulletin. I mean, yeah, but the coincidences written by 008 have to have reasonable development and have to have smooth reasonings, right? Obviously, I do not suspect 008 again. I think it's like, instance I know that he's alive, but I'm just saying there might be a higher power in play here. Just like I conducted previously, the problem with Mirasol was that he was able to do rash. I was worried that it's not easy to disguise myself usually, as it can end up attracting more attention. Therefore, I didn't try to disguise myself, although these two possibilities, especially the former, has the probability of being influenced. It does match the corresponding person's personality, mentality, and origins. And this is the main point. This doesn't explain the problem of how my second case ended up involving a meat sequence beyond there of the seer pathway. It was destined by fate, doesn't feel right. Thinking ahead, after I transmigrated the first and second case I found myself embroiled in was related to the seer pathway. Of course, it could be explained as arrangement by 008. No, you getting the seer pathway and you connection to seer and grey fog has nothing to do with 008. It's all a big coincidence. It's pretty smooth, yeah, but I meant like volume 1. A smooth too, but not as smooth as right now, right? No, here it's smoother actually. My bad. It was destined by fate, doesn't feel right. Right, Antigonus family notebook even corrupted the misfortune cloth puppet and showed with the complicated vertical eye symbol that involves the Antigonus family treasure. The reason I came up with back then was that with the determination of the Antigonus family bloodline, I viewed me as a seer who had survived despite having interacted with it as its inheritor. Now that I think about it, this reason is extremely terrifying. What if I'm a devout believer of the Vernicates? However, only made a guess at the time and didn't confirm it. The Antigonus family treasure is obviously related to the seer pathway. Yeah, that's what I think. Yeah, of course it is. So I'm guessing that the Antigonus family also has a seer pathway. Taratol is connected to it, right? That's not really a guess. That's obvious now because of the 2049 and everything. So it's true. In addition to the first time Roselle a diary had content that involved this regret of not choosing apprentice, marauder, or seer. That was very coincidental. It's not 008, it's fate driven by Lord of Mysteries. From beginning to end, except for those parts involving 008, everything appeared to be in a mess. It doesn't seem like conscious arrangement, but more like a kind of passive attraction, a mutual attraction that has breaks between them. Attract things and items regarding seer pathway and at the same time attracted to them. Doesn't seem odd. Think about it, this kind of attraction even directly influences fate, preventing even Mr. Azik from seeing through it. There are some strange characteristics to me. I mean, transmigration and grey fog is like obviously a strange characteristic line. And this characteristic allows me to resurrect a limited number of times. Why does it think it's limited? Oh, it's because second time it died, it like took a lot longer for him to heal, right? With this in mind, Klein suddenly had the impulse to go about the grey fog to perform a divination and confirm his ideas. But he quickly rejected this idea, not only because Miss Bodyguard might be watching in the mirror, but also because he believed that his greatest characteristic was the mysterious base of the grey fog. Exactly. Therefore, it was obviously impossible for him to have an answer if he were to use it to divine about it. At least for now, there aren't any obvious signs of manipulation. It will be acceptable if it's just pure attraction. It's already chosen a beyonder. What if it's the person who's sequence 1 of Spectator? Because we know, or Klein also guessed it, and it's not confirmed, but we know that 008 might be a Spectator artifact. You know what I mean? A Spectator pathway artifact. So maybe there's a sequence 1 on the Spectator pathway who is interested in Klein. I mean, I wrote down sequence 4 manipulator, but I think that's too strong for sequence 4. Maybe sequence 1? Therefore, it was obviously impossible for him to have an answer if it were used to divine about it. At least for now, there aren't any obvious signs of manipulation. It could be accepted if it's just pure attraction. They're already chosen a beyonder pathway that cannot be changed until sequence 4, so I can only take things one step at a time. Right, I should be firm about not heading to the Hornatz's mountain range to seek out the Antigonus. family treasure. I feel that I would say how nice it is in the future when I actually do it. Klein silently made a self-deprecating remark as he felt his exhaustion gradually wash over him. Eyelids couldn't help but close. The last thought before he fell asleep was, I should participate in a more Beyonder gatherings and gather the corresponding Beyonder ingredients for magician from Miss Justice, the Hanged Man and the Sun. I won't reject anything for Faceless. If they were available in addition, I should obtain mystical items that have less severe negative effects. For my digestion and increase in strength, it's best to have more life preservation abilities. Apart from this, investigating, taking on jobs, saving up money, and attempts to look for Lanevus, to use him as a starting point for my revenge, can also be considered a form of practice. Lanevus, killing of Lanevus is gonna be absolute cinema, and I'm gonna be on the edge of my seat screaming of happiness. And then we get Inns, and then I'm gonna be even more happy that I will ascend through heavens and become, I don't know, a heavenly emperor or whatever they say these days. Those were the client's future plans. At 7 in the morning, he woke up as usual. It was still gloomy and hazy outside. Got up and walked to the door. As he passed by the full-length mirror, he saw that Miss Bodyguard had suddenly appeared. She wore the same black bonnet. Her face was pale as ever. Her voice pierced through the glass and slipped into Klein's ear in an ethereal fashion. Someone from my 9 came last night. I should say, as expected, the police came late, as expected. But I still have to thank them for being late, Klein smiled and asked. They didn't find anything, right? In regards to the answer, he was very certain that the M9 had discovered something. He would have been able to sleep. Wouldn't have able to sleep undisturbed. No, Miss Bodyguard figure had faded and disappeared into the mirror. The ability of hers is very powerful, even spirit vision can't detect her. Perhaps she can be seen with Rosago's Beyonder characteristics. Find Miss Bodyguard through those hidden threads. Klein's mind stirred as he returned to the bed and took out the iron cigar case from under his pillow. What is she? She's so mysterious, man. Just as she touched it, before he could even open it, a bone-piercing cold rushed at his neck. He felt his hair stand on an end and his entire body tremble. It's still dangerous. Pow! His hand loosened and the iron cigar case fell to the ground. This warning from Miss Bodyguard, Klein laughed dryly. Yeah, what's happening to the corpse or whatever, the artifact that, he dropped when he died? It's a warning from Miss Bodyguard, Klein laughed dryly, pretending as though nothing had happened as he stuffed the iron cigar case into his pocket. After washing up and putting on his clothes, he arrived at the first floor and took out the newspaper that he had subscribed from his letterbox. You don't fucking open it. Hands off. You're gonna lose control, man. Flipping up the Tusuk Times, Klein saw the headline. Inti's ambassador to BAKERLAND murder, terrorist organization the Aurora Order claims responsibility. Based. The result is out so quickly. Besides, the Aurora Order had only accepted a job, so why would they claim responsibility? Yes, I don't think they claimed. I think the authorities are just saying they claimed, so do not leave up mysteries in the air for people, right? Because they are also certain it's Aurora Order as well. Yes, a terrorist organization needs to show off their stature and build up their image. Oh, true. Only then will they be able to attract enough fresh blood. This complements their secret preachings. Mr. A is very good. Mr. Aindu is very good. He should be a shepherd. Klein stood in the halfway reading the news. He is. According to the news, there was an evidence of Aurora Order assault on Ambassador BAKERLAND. In a follow-up investigation, they found a letter deliberately left behind by the Aurora Order, which they claim responsibility for it. At the end of the news, the reporter briefly introduced the Aurora Order and listed some of the legal crimes they had committed. Their fame instantly surpassed most of the secret organizations. Ooh, Aurora Order. I mean, Aurora Order is a bunch of fucking lunatics, though. Ah, man, I'm worried that this is gonna set up like a chain reaction of, assassinations and war. Regardless, their matter had come to an end. Klein exhaled, turned his head to look out the window. He saw a thin mist filling the air as a drizzle began pattering down. Ugh, smog. Hello, Alma. Smog. Shouldn't be there bright sunshine and sunny weather during such moments. Klein gave a self-deprecating laugh. And now he had to go out to catch some adulterers. Let's fucking go. Side mission. Fight by the bodyguard. Okay. Guys, Reader was right. I want to do 12 chapters today, but my voice fucking hurts. I don't know why my voice hurts, but it hurts. So we'll continue on Monday, and like I promised, I'll do 30 chapters next week. So expect a stream nearly every day, maybe 6 days or 5 days next week. We're gonna read all the mysteries and see how far we can get, right? So I will end the stream here, and I'll see you later. I'll also upload the trailer for ReZero and Freerun as well. So yeah, I'll see you on Monday, guys. Bye bye. Thank you for coming.